So what was that song you wanted to bring up here, Sarah?
So I wanted to bring up In the Arms of the Angel because technical difficulties have arisen, and I was joking I wanted to play that in the background, but Skitch said that would nuke us into copyright oblivion, so I was like, okay, just play a kazoo cover then.
Mm-hmm. Well, now to be clear, that is not the name of the song. The name of the song is Just Angel. That's the Sarah McLachlan song. And it's about someone who died, so it is definitely appropriate for like that type of sad thing here. I want to bring up a fun factoid about that song that I think is particularly unintentionally funny. And that is that there's 2 songs on the B side of that single when it first came out in the 90s. One of them was a song just called I Will Not Forget You, the live version of it. But then the other one is just Ice Cream, the live version. I'm just like, that is a weird total whiplash to go from.
Is the
I am very interested in the live version of Ice Cream.
That is on the B side for Angel, if you find that original single there. But yes.
I'm not certain I want to, do I want to know about the unalive version of Ice Cream?
No. That's just the studio version. That's how we refer to that there. I'm
making wordplay. Leave me alone.
I'd be very weird to talk to somebody about their music catalog, be like, you know what? The live performance was good. I preferred the unalive version that you did back in the studio, you know?
This performance was about as dead as Ice Cream. What?
I prefer the resurrected version that you did in the studio.
Oh, geez. The second coming of Ice Cream.
Well, there's so many bad directions we could go with that there, but
I like bad directions. I'm good in mazes.
If you keep going every wrong direction of maze, eventually you get to the exit.
I genuinely navigate mazes better than straight lines. There were no signs. Oh, I appreciate the delay on that one landing.
I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
It's about not being straight. That's the joke. Okay, that's the joke. The joke is something gay. That's all I'm gonna say.
I can't be an archer, but I can throw grenades.
Well, speaking about not going straight into the solution here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to perhaps surprisingly yet another episode of Shardpoint Academy, The Century Book. So, you thought we were done. However, I was noticing how much you all in the Discord server, yes, I'm talking about you. Stop writing. I'm talking about you. I noticed how you all really enjoyed some of the antics between 2 of our players in particular for a little bit. So I wanted to give them some space to get a little bit more antics involved and an opportunity to bring someone else into the fold. So we'll get into that. But introductions have to be made. So as a quick heads up, my name is Michael Scicciano. I am the DM. And as a DM for Shardpoint Academy, The Century Book, I will play all the NPCs, I'll outline the story, decide what roles for my victims, our players, to do, and decide, what the outcome of those roles are as we do our totally serious, not at all wacky adventure here for today. But I have 3 players for us, 2 of whom you all already should be familiar with. So let's go ahead with those introductions. Actually, before I move on, you can find me, of course, as always, on Blue Sky as Skitch and on the Dice Funk server in the Funky Shack at pretty much any given time. At me whenever, I dare you. For our cast of...
You won't.
For our cast of players, I'll start with our most veteran player. Sarah, go ahead and introduce yourself, who you're playing as again, and... plug your stuff as always.
Hello, my name is Sarah. I'm also known as Cosmignon in most places. I am playing Eclaire. She is a bad girl, like delinquent type, Aasimar fighter, I believe an Eldritch Knight specifically. And you can find me on patreon.com/Cosmignon. You can find me at my store, cosmignon.square.site. You can find me on Blue Sky and Tumblr under the same username, and Instagram with _SD attached to the end of it. And if you would like to help support me, Patreon and the shop and also my coffee at Cosmignon are the best places to do it. I recently, just today, got my computer fixed for one problem, and then I opened it and I tried to test to make sure that the tablet screen worked, and it did not. I'm having a new problem. I think it's just to replace a computer problem. Please help me.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds familiar.
Unfortunately, we'll not be able to petition David Foster to write a "Please Save Sarah's Computer" song. We'll have to resort to using some other sort of inspirational music for that.
I just remembered. Sorry, there's like a Tumblr post I saw like a couple weeks ago that's like computers are like so fragile. They're like horses. You're like holding it in your arms, and it's like, I can't feel my legs, and it's like, you don't have legs. That's how I feel with my computer right now. You don't have legs. What's wrong?
The other two problems I'm thinking of, like, one, depending on how large the horse is, holding it in your arms might be difficult.
I was going to say.
And secondly, horses don't exist. And that's the other reason why holding them might be difficult, you know?
I can hold air. I can hold an air guitar. I can hold an air horse.
An air horse, definitely, yes.
I don't know if I can use that to my advantage somehow. But yes, Sarah's New Year's is strife with technical issues, and I'll probably see if my family can help with it. But like, if you would like to help me financially, like anything from any of those places I mentioned, Patreon, store, coffee, those all help.
Yes. Next up, we have our second most veteran cast member here. Go ahead, Fornea.
Hello there, I am Fornea, Noble Mermaid, and your local Leviathan, and I consent to being a victim.
That's not fun. Yeah, that's like I can imagine like a villain being like, "I've got you in my lair," and so like, "Oh, I consent to this." You can't do that. Don't
threaten me with a good time.
Now I gotta go to my room and sulk about this.
Joke's on you. I'm into that.
But yes, tell us more about yourself.
I am, in fact, a VTuber. I can be most commonly found on Twitch, where I'm going to stream whatever, because I am ADHD as hell, and consistency is for soup.
It depends on the soup. It depends.
It does.
Not all soup. Okay. But
yeah, I am a proponent of civil rights and other whatnot good stuff. In that I won't shut up if you get me on a subject, and I support sex workers. You should too.
Can confirm that most of those fronts there about you just pretty from personal experience. So yes. Who you're playing us today again?
I am going to be playing Phyrlass once more. She is a drow Owendan, and on the sheet I've written War Dancer, but realistically she's just a professional encourager. Particularly of wrongs.
Women's wrongs, of course, because as Sarah
Trans wrongs, women's wrongs, they're all good wrongs.
As Sarah will say, you can't advocate for women's / trans rights without also advocating for wrongs from those same people.
Exactly. You have to support them in anything they do.
Because
that's how that works.
Yeah. Right, exactly. If you decide I don't support this, you're automatically on the list. Which list? You don't need to know. You just need to know you're on it.
If you deal with the consequences of being on the list, then you'll know.
if you're a fan of consequences.
I mean, I am.
Speaking about consequences, I'm curious about if people want the consequence of you being more aided financially. Otherwise, is there any way people can support you otherwise, Farnea?
The simplest way to accomplish that would be the fact that I have a Ko-fi, I don't know. I think it's coffee, but I kind of refuse to say that for moral reasons. And, yeah, I have recently fallen below my threshold of the bank's "you are too poor, F you" punishment threshold because I have been helping friends. And yeah, getting back above that would be kind of great. I would also really, 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 really like some leather boots.
You should have led with the leather boots there. It's just like,
everyone
it's like
would
what's
love
the
to get you
boots?
some leather boots. Let's go.
You gotta save the best for last. Come on, it's a pacing thing.
That's fair enough as well. So yeah, so those are our players that our listeners should be familiar with, but we do have a new guest raiding the chat, I would almost assume, in a certain way. Runia, feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello. All right, so I'm Runia. I am, well, a Twitch VTuber, and I like to talk about TTRPGs, lore, and I play a few games here and there, typically the RPG variety, sometimes of, lore heavy or even a cultish variety. You can find me there under the name Runia Da Witch. That's D-A, not T-H-E. You can also find me on Blue Sky, and I do have a Ko-fi. Yes, I call it Ko-fi because I'm jumping from the word Wi-Fi.
That's that's
that's what my mind jumps to. All of that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, all of that is still under the same name, Runia Da Witch.
Excellent. And who are you playing as today?
I am playing Jasmine Withers, who mechanically, Oath of the Ancients Paladin. In this setting, I'm sort of setting her up as kind of like a counselor, life coach type character. It's going to be fun from what I'm hearing about these other two characters.
Yes. Now, and it's one of the things I always find kind of fun is we can always say mechanically this is what my character is, but narratively what their function or role or other things is, it's really this. Just to be clear.
Yeah, I'm just here to tell people what to do, and so is Runia, in very different ways.
I don't tell people what to do. I just make them do it with my cool sword. I hit them until they do it.
Your cool sword being the dollar Storple sword.
Yes, my dollar Storple sword.
To clarify, Runia, this is a Vorpal sword that was so improperly maintained that it no longer can decapitate people automatically. Thankfully, but it's it's still a +2 sword. That's still pretty good,
I always love swords like that. There's always the potential for them to get fixed later down the line.
Yeah. Maybe someday it'll get fixed and then I'll be too powerful to be stopped.
It'll be a restored pulse sword at that point there,
Help control your magical weapon population.
Fair enough. So, to put a little bit of a framing device to what's happening now, our opening 4 episodes effectively set up the framing device for what any subsequent episodes, until I say so, are about, which typically involves something related to the Century Book, which is like a yearbook, but an academic document that takes place over a century, and due to some reason, large stretches of it have gone blank, and any information that should have been on there have gone missing and need to be restored in some way. Sometimes it might be directly restoring it using original sources, and sometimes it might be using other means of relaying what the topic of the area is about. And we're going to open up into a scenario that is related to one of those sections of the Century Book. And this pertains to most directly Phyrlass but the others will be there for reasons. What we're going to open up with is the following element related to the Century book itself. One of the things we established in the prior sessions is a few things about the sports student life sort of experience at Shardpoint. They have the Shardpoint's official team name is the Crystals. They have a mascot named Christy the Crystal, I believe is what we came up with was the name.
Yes,
no,
Christy.
Very
Sounds right.
Christy the Crystal. And one of the conceits we inserted in there is actually something adopted from a real mascot for the Stanford University, and that is the idea that the mascot rotates after each season. So after each sort of like interval, a new person makes a new Christy the Crystal costume and now becomes the new Christy. And in the upcoming game, there's going to be an exchange of like changing of arms of sorts. So part of what's happening is what we consider like a pep rally practice. The cheer squad gearing up to work on different routines, different sort of like musical numbers, pyrotechnics, cryotechnics, whatever else you have there. Any sort of techniques you want to put out there. Every element. Fire does not get to be the only one that has fun with the technicalities here. Try thinking out the other things we'd have for like.
I want to see the necrotechnics.
Unfortunately, that would require getting the rights to Thriller, and I don't think we can pull off that as well. So we have that's another song we can't pull off there. Because that is the closest I can think of the necrotechnics. Is like the dead rise up to do a dance number.
There's a reason I wanted to see it.
Also, it's also be clear. I don't remember entirely how that stuff works, given how death works in Dice Funk at this point in history. It's weird. One of the things, to be clear, Runia, is that one of the things that preceded Shardpoint Academy is that all the gods are dead because the platonic form of death intersected the material plane and caused anyone whose life is extended past their due date died instantly, and that meant every god just died on the spot. So how afterlife stuff, it's a little weird, okay? It's just a little, don't think too much about it. It's not super relevant.
I'm not going to. I will, as a lore speaker myself, I will get to that later. I will want to learn more, but not now. It's like,
Runia has found a new hobby.
Yes, it's a thing. So what we're opening up on is sort of like the pep rally. You could almost, I like to describe things as like camera shots and motions and such. So I almost like imagine like there's a camera moving over one of the buildings of Shardpoint, capped with a sort of like suspended in air spinning crystal with some hairline cracks along it that have formed recently. And then we see Phyrlass and co. Engaging things. So Fornea, Phyrlass, how would you describe the theatrics of like a large scale like pep rally that's being organized between like the cheer squad, any other entities that are important like music wise or otherwise? What are some things you want to feature about it?
Well, it's important to remember that the cheer squad does actually come in three components. You have brass, which is, where the instruments are. Mm-hmm. You have the cheers, which is where you're going to think of your regular cheerleaders. And then you have leader squad, which are the Oendan, of which Phyrlass is the leader thereof. And this is a pretty involved production because Phyrlass is calling out directions. And not only are leader squad throwing out the various dances and gestures that associate with it, the brass are also having to follow her directions as though she were conducting the entire thing herself with shouts from over there. And the more conventional cheerers are having to form like pyramids, formations, and other such things similarly off of these commands.
It's very fascinating because what you're describing feels like a very interesting fusion of Japanese Oendan and the much more American drumline concept. Like drumline performances are shocking in terms of how much work goes into the elaboration of those performances. the wildest thing is seeing people do marching in very tight formations and then intersecting between each other's lines where nobody breaks stride and nobody runs into each other. So, and especially if you want to like spell out certain words on the field and such. Now I'm just imagining someone trying to have an entire essay spelled out on a field over the course of hours.
That'd be involved, but no, we're not quite going into that level of nonsense. We're sticking with actually celebrating the final deployment of our current mascot, and the formations are to resemble Christy the Crystal.
So I'm kind of curious about, so here's something I like to always throw out to other people. It's like, okay, are there any like other quirks or elements we think of as ways to sort of commemorate the end of the old and the ringing in of the new when it comes to Christy the Crystal here, you know?
We need to have concessions for like the celebration. We need to have rock candy.
There we are.
So is that just candy, you know, like talking about like conventional rock candy, or are you talking about actual rocks that are somehow transmuted into candy?
It could be both. It could be the sugar water like rock candy thing, and it could also be like something a bit more magical. I just need them to be like different multicolored, like pretty rocks that you can bite into.
The worst they can think of is the candy that forces you to change your alignment when you have it.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be a lawbreaker. Yes.
Yeah.
You
Boo.
Listen,
I
had to
that one.
I had to think of something here. I was thinking like of something like it's like a piece of obsidian that's actually just licorice or something like that, you know.
Honestly, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like, but yeah.
I will say that some of this on the spectacle end is punctuated by some of the conventional cheerers being Terra mages, and they're conjuring various pebbles of shiny dispositions to just kind of fly out and be their own spectacle on their own.
Runia, what are there any like elements you'd like to think are like happening in terms of like, you can almost think of like changing of arms type of stuff. You could just think of just like general, like something that's both celebratory, but also maybe a little reverent. Not sure. What are some other assets you think, elements you think could be happening here?
Gosh, I was so focused in taking it all in, I didn't stop to think on that.
It's fine. You can take a pause. It's fine. Austin will cut out like egregious gaps and stuff to make you sound like a genius. That is one of the things Austin tries to do here. So
take your time. You're okay.
Yeah.
So is this towards the mascot itself, or like stuff to add to the changing of?
It could be either. I mean, heck, you could be like. One idea is, what could the new Christy the Crystal look like, right? You know, what are some elements that could be found in there? Because each outfit for the mascot is different because it's made by the person who wears it.
What has been made so far? I would say.
Well, we can make up. Like we all we had was just a description of Christy the Crystal, who just looks like one of the Shardpoint Crystals that are like at the pillars of the buildings there. Just like these sort of like, you know, conventional quote unquote crystal, magical crystal shape. You know the type, with appropriate holes for like limbs and
you see
stuff.
them in Final Fantasy all the time.
Yeah.
Understood. Now, I have a particular fondness for Onyx, but really a jet black suit in the middle of a hot day would probably be a death sentence. So unless that person really...
Well, to be fair...
We'll just get a Yuki Onna to do it. It's fine.
Yeah, and honest... Yeah, well, one, we have people who could probably tolerate the heat, or probably think it's not hot enough. And two, you know, magic. We can put air conditioning in there.
You know what? Yeah, I forgot Endure Elements is a spell.
I like the idea
still
of
spell
using...
in 5th edition?
I like the idea, like, Endure Element, a spell that is written to be like, someone's about to do fire damage to you right now. And someone reading that being like, can I just, like, turn it on when it's a bit too hot in my room for a few hours so I can just, like, take a nap?
That reminds me when I used what was it called? Like still emotions or whatever to keep someone from like having a breakdown because their child was abducted. And that's not the intention of that spell.
Nope, not quite.
Now I'm curious if Endure Elements is in 5th edition still.
We have Absorb Elements, which is, I know, one of the, but I don't think Endure is a thing there.
Oh yeah. So could I give a quick rundown of what the Endure Elements spell was?
I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
No, it pretty much was just a survival spell in older editions and kind of still hangs around in Pathfinder, where it basically is like, hey, no matter what's going outside, it could be the craziest of blizzards, it could be the hottest of deserts, you could just be having a really, what do you call it? Humid day. This spell just makes it the most pleasant moment in your life for 24 hours. It just makes all the conditions just right so it doesn't bug you.
What level spell is that?
I want to say, gosh, maybe like 2nd level or so.
That sounds like a
pretty,
2nd or 3rd level spell.
Yeah,
that's pretty good, honestly.
Yeah. Of course, it only covers one person at a time, unless we're talking 1st edition Pathfinder, which had the communal version of spells, like the next spell level up.
I also like how in the 2nd edition version, the spell makes the person protected from severe cold or heat, but not extreme cold or heat.
Yeah, like the 2nd edition's ability to, well, not ability, but inclusion of degrees of severity has been an amazing part of their weather system. But we'll talk more about Pathfinder stuff another time.
Yeah, we'll definitely find some time to dive into that for sure. So
it is a big topic on my channel. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. So
didn't you actually get a sponsorship by Paizo to talk about Pathfinder stuff at one point?
No, but I got it from Eldritch Osiris. And
that's what it
they
was.
have. I want to say some writers that worked with Paizo on their staff. So that was the thing. I was like,
all right. So we got some nice elements here. We have like the elaboration of how the band members and how everyone else is kind of moving around. We have like concessions going on and other little things to kind of commemorate stuff. And we have the new Christie, the Crystal, who's basically out or who's been on the field practicing within the pep rally because they're the ones that are going to have to actually do the routine when game time comes. So now, with that being said, it's obvious why Phyrlass is there. But now I have the question about why the other two are there. We have Eclaire. Why are you there?
Claire is here because, as mentioned at the end of the 4-part century book start arc, she said that she would be interested in, but not tying her heart to potentially joining Phyrlass's cheerleader cheer squad thing. So she's there to observe and see what the whole fucking big deal is about it. And she's leaning up against the bleachers and she's got one of those rock candies in her teeth like it's a cigarette, very Sanji 4Kids style.
It's a very long rock candy.
It's like it's like four
it's
kids.
Like one of those rock candies on a wooden stick.
It's an igneous stick.
Well, and the thing about it's it's all obsidian, onyx adjacent looking stuff there, right? So it's there to celebrate the new. I would almost assume that the outfit, I could almost imagine the cheer squad doing a quick change in the middle and then unveil the colors of their outfits matching the old Christie, and then when the new one gets unveiled, everyone shifts over to these all black attire in all ranks, and then go from there.
That'd be a little difficult for Leader Squad itself because they're always in all black, but for the rest of them, yeah.
That's kind of the whole point, though. Leader Squad is always in their thing, but the whole idea is everyone shifts into that there, and that's part of the presentation there. So this raises the other question, Runia. So why is Jasmine there?
I was thinking for a moment, like, they could be, like, some club's advisor thing, but I was like, no. I don't know. Yeah, there's that.
There's to be like you could be there as like because like it's not uncommon for student clubs to have like a faculty advisor. That's a type of thing. One idea I was even thinking is like you could just literally be in there just keeping an eye on Eclaire. So it's almost like Eclaire's watching the cheer squad and you're watching Eclaire like behind like around a corner or something, just keeping tabs on her. It's kind of like whatever
like,
is fun.
They're here for a particular reason, right? Or are they just enjoying the?
Maybe you haven't had a chance to talk with Eclaire and you're like, why is she so interested in the cheer squad now, right?
Yeah. Might try to approach her later.
It's true, you wouldn't know.
Assuming that Eclaire has like given you the time of day, I'm not sure she would really appreciate being assigned to a counselor.
Certainly
Probably
a possibility.
not.
Probably
it's true. Jasmine would not know that Eclaire and Phyrlass have recently been on a little mini adventure.
I would like to think that Eclaire has like an elaborately maintained equivalent of an Apple Newton that has all the responsibilities that she's scheduling to ignore. So it's like, okay, it's like, are you available? Well, I'm supposed to be skipping Bastion Economics right now, so I'm a little booked until that class is over. Are you gonna be in it? No. I'm gonna be here ignoring it, so I have to grab me when I'm not ignoring something.
Yeah, it's like I'm coming up with excuses to not do it.
And I would assume that like you probably have only seen Eclaire a maximum of like once, and she's been skipping out on like meetings ever since.
Yeah, now I'm coming to track her down.
Yes.
Has she seen me before is a good question. Probably not.
Well, that's up to...
That's up to you, I suppose.
I can imagine what happened is she probably like forcibly got sent to your office like once after like a particularly nasty altercation, and it's like, okay, you need to like have a counselor meeting, and then she like disrespectfully sat on your nearest like furniture, barely paid attention to anything that you had to say, and then she like ollied out, and then you've never seen her since.
Oh boy.
Like I like to think of like what would be the infraction that got her in there. I'd like to think vandalizing without a license. Like you didn't get the certification to vandalize something. So it's not the vandalizing that's the problem. It's that you didn't do the paperwork to vandalize something correctly.
She hates
Discworld level
paperwork
nonsense.
so much. She's going to vandalize as much as she pleases. There's a huge fucking just area of the school that keeps getting re-vandalized and then cleaned up and then vandalized again.
Sparkles is upset. The janitor Sparkles is very upset about it.
I'm just mentally envisioning Eclaire functionally playing Splatoon with the campus grounds against the staff.
Yeah. It's Eclaire, her girls, like against like the janitors.
Mostly just the one janitor in this case.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Night Shift cares, but Sparkles.
Yeah.
Sparkles is doing their job.
Sparkles is a goblin magical janitor who spent most of their time using magic to clean up graffiti and other things and fixing like the appearances of things around the campus.
How many times has Eclaire been smacked with a broom from this goblin?
Once I tried to trip them and fell into a pool, like during the first recording of the last like arc. So like we have a history.
Like Eclaire tried to fuck with Sparkles. The Sparkles
I
somehow
do remember
tripped her
that
with his tail.
because I fished Eclaire out with my spear.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like this seems like a pretty fine setup. We can have some interactions between you two now if you want, or we can kind of like move on to our next point here. But we have an idea why everyone is on the scene. Are there any other details we want to establish before we move on to the next sequence of events here, though?
I'm just kind of curious what kind of equipment loadout would be here with, like, obviously not a full backpack.
Well, in terms of like equipment that you might have, or
Yeah, that I would have.
Yeah, I mean, it can be as geared out or not as you want. People can wield around and brandish weapons around campus. They just, have to do so without actually, creating a threat to their peers and stuff like that. But this is an adventuring school. People of all different types are here, and people with all types of weapons are around and such. So
That's actually a point because Eclaire carries her sword everywhere.
Yes.
And Phyrlass has a spear with a banner on it that is constantly changing relative to whatever she's cheering about. And the banner this time reads Merry Entropy.
Very different meaning in this case here.
Everyone.
Oh gosh. I just got a really terrible idea of oh no, the old Christie costume is gonna be removed by erosion. So we're gonna stand here and wait for this water trickle to destroy the old costume, however long it takes before the game begins. Everyone.
All right, everybody, bunker down.
Merry Entropy is my personal way that I tell people happy birthday because it's legally distinct.
Yes. Well, saying happy birthday is fine. Singing happy birthday, that's a whole different thing.
Yes, but it's funnier my way.
Listen, I'm just you're saying that like I know the actual legal of that there. So
I know you do.
But so there's a situation. Like I said, right now we can say that you're shadowing Jasmine, that you're shadowing Eclaire right now. Do you want to try to obscure the fact you're shadowing her?
Yes, actually.
All right, then can I actually get a roll from you? I need a stealth check from you.
All right.
In that case, that'll be just /r d20, in your case +5. And because I'm assuming you're wearing your armor right now, are you?
Yes, because what I'm picturing here is that I am coming lightly equipped, but also with the intention that I know, what's her name again? Is it
Eclaire?
Eclaire?
Yes.
Eclaire.
Eclaire is definitely a fighter type.
She is a
So
bad
I thought
bitch,
maybe I can, engage her on that level at least, maybe do a sparring later, some such. So I've got some combat equipment on me, but I'm largely wielding the longsword and one dagger is there. Javelins have been left behind, has a quarterstaff.
See, this is how this is how people know that you play Pathfinder, because nobody who plays D&D would describe their weapon loadout in this manner. Because in a lot of dice books, they'll be like, oh, here's my one weapon. If you're playing Pathfinder, it's like, okay, well, here's my bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage sources. Here's my range damage source as well. And also I have 3 daggers in my inventory because Pathfinder characters have to be kitted like they're being depicted by Wayne Reynolds at all times, it feels like.
Here, it just goes back way before that when it was older versions of D&D where the usual trick was the fighter's golf bag of weapons.
Right.
Because there were particular times when particular weapons would do better than others.
Yes.
Especially when it's like skeletons take, actual damage from bludgeoning weapons. So make sure you have one of those. Or, zombies, go down easy with slashing weapons, so on and so forth.
Oh, I know that one because I played a gunfighter and whose first enemy he fought was zombies, and he died to them because his bullets couldn't hurt them.
And everyone else had piercing damage.
The only thing that could hurt the zombies was the horse biting them. That was the only thing that could hurt the zombies was the horse.
Oh, that's really good, actually.
Yeah.
By that point, my character was already dead.
Conceptually.
I was playing the horse because the gunfighter that I spent a week developing a backstory for died to one of the first encounters to the Kingmaker module. Fun times. Anyways.
Rolling at disadvantage.
Correct.
So the lower of the two, that's a 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, so
Yeah.
So one of those two was a natural 20. So, Eclaire.
If I only spent a luck point.
Yeah. And I forget. Oh gosh. Yeah. Like I
Can
don't
you
think
actually do
it'd
that
be
retroactively, or do you have to declare it?
I have to declare, I think.
Yeah, and in this case here, the way that like heroic inspiration works in 2024 is different. You basically you can expend it immediately to reroll any die after rolling. So you could, let's say, expend heroic inspiration to reroll it, but you have to use a new roll. You can't choose between the two. So in that case, it's more akin to like think that way the hero points work in Pathfinder in that respect. So, if you
I also
want,
have 3 luck points on top of that because of Wayfarer having lucky.
that's well again. And do you wait? So you actually have lucky as a feat?
As I have lucky as a feat.
All right. I mean, if you want to spend a luck point on that, you are welcome to do so.
No, I think this is an appropriate thing to fail.
It's fair enough there.
What was your failure roll? I only see the crit.
Well, there's the 20, and then there's the 3 afterwards, and then the 5 there. So
Okay.
yeah. So
the roll 20 just did math. Okay.
well, no, the roll 20 just rolled both into the same bracket there. So
Yeah.
it's so,
Normally, if you use a Roll20 sheet, there's a particular thing that they have on the sheets for advantage, disadvantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Eclaire, can you roll me a perception check, please?
Yeah. Perception.
Now, all I can think of is that one picture of cat and dog.
All right. So that 12 will beat the 8. So, Eclaire, you will notice some. I'm assuming that Jasmine is. I forgot to ask for pronouns for all the characters too.
She, her.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of she, hers in the party here, which is totally fine. Yeah. So you notice someone you recognize. She looks familiar. You don't know why you recognize her, probably, though. It's probably what I'm going to say to you, Eclaire, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Eclaire's probably pushed Jasmine out of her mind.
I was going to say, Eclaire pushed Jasmine down a flight of stairs a few times in the past without realizing it. I'm just like, oh, no.
I'm just imagining, like, what if Lupin and Zenigata and Lupin just didn't know?
That is like a pretty good comparison, and I'm always fond of a good Lupin reference there. But anyways, so that's the scene there. It took a little while to get to that setup there, but we had some fun getting to some details. So we have the cheer squad in full force. We have Eclaire watching from the bleachers. Are your girls nearby, by the way, or no?
Yeah, my girls are nearby.
Of course
They're
are.
like hanging around. Probably just working on stuff for the gang.
And then we have Jasmine kind of like keeping an eye on Eclaire from where she is. So with that, the ceremonies are going by, the practice is going by pretty smoothly and such. And at one point, the call is made to bring out the old Christie so they can practice like the changing of arms, because that's a very elaborate number, as we have inadvertently established with the non-leader cheer squad members having to do basically a costume quick change during the sequence. Right. In the interim, the old Christie has not needed to do anything, so they've just been off somewhere else nearby taking a nap is what they said they were going to do.
That's fine.
One
Rest
of
is
the
good.
yeah, one of the I'm going to assume that one of the members of the leader squad went over to retrieve Christie. Do you have a preference in which one is doing the job there?
That'd be Tethys, because Raisin is generally busy doing instrument work.
Fair enough.
Raisin's on the drum.
Yes,
The big taiko.
the taiko. Yes. So, can you say that name again?
Tethys.
Tethys is the one that's going for it? Okay.
Yes.
So Tethys goes off, and after like a minute or two, Tethys runs in a hurried manner up to you, Phyrlass, leans in, and just whispers, I can't find Christie.
Phyrlass is going to cease her focus upon leading in gesture, and is just going to call out, "Hold!" and is then going to lean in Explain.
I went to where Christy said they were going to take a nap. They weren't there. And there was also like a note where they were. Should I brought? I think I should have brought that back. I can go get the note real quick.
Take over for me.
Okay, sure.
You know the routine.
Yeah. I know.
You can do it.
I'll be fine once I'm in character. I'm just and there's like this like weirdly like nervous energy, but once they kind of do like the appropriate shouts of the commands for things to get back in action, it's like a super smooth exchange there. But
I'll be fine once I'm in character. Every player at the table.
Yeah, pretty much there. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Couldn't be me.
Couldn't be.
But yeah, with that in mind, Phyrlass is going to head off to investigate and is going to point at Eclaire from the bleachers and is just going to kind of gesture follow.
Oh yeah, Eclaire will like get up and like follow you like immediately. Like, hey, what's going on? Why'd you like change guard? Is that the right word?
Tethys is my secondary. She can handle my job in my place for the time being. Something's wrong.
Ooh, something wrong? Like, gotta go fight somebody wrong, or something wrong like another way?
Potentially both.
Okay, how about I follow you? Let's see what's up.
Please do. The Christie mascot is missing, and not for the reasons that this should be not here.
Oh, the Christie mascot.
So as you two head off to the location that you know that Christy should be, Jasmine, you'll notice that Eclaire is joining the cheer squad captain. Phyrlass, and I'll point out that Phyrlass is basically like months away from basically being a postdoctorate student at Shardpoint. So like you have this delinquent with like this effectively model student kind of in the same things like, why are they walking off together?
Oh yeah, I'm following after, and I'm hoping that the cheerleader, the captain, is a good influence on her, but worried that the delinquent is a bad influence on her.
Little column A, little column B.
Maybe. So,
I mean, she could always use a friend.
Like I knew you were going to follow us because we are in the same recording together. So I am going to lean to Phyrlass in return and just be like, and hey, just so you know, I got like a teacher or something on my tail. I don't know what I did, but like if she confronts us, let's just we could take care of that, like easy peasy lemon squeezy, I'm sure.
Yeah. If Phyrlass was to look over to Jasmine, would you describe how Jasmine looks like, Runia, briefly?
Okay. So, I think she stands out pretty decently, honestly, and that explains why her stealth is pretty bad, despite actually having training in it. Like, blonde hair, naturally tanned skin, blue eyes, 5'10".
Oh, the second tallest person around here.
Yeah. It's like,
I like the precision there, but yeah. I think you mentioned before, like sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, I was gonna say that she is wearing a chainmail, and it's being worn kind of like a dress, almost in its own way.
Armored dresses are excellent.
Yeah. Complete with another layer with armored skirt, really. I was like, and some pretty high boots. I was like,
of course.
We have similar vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, while the main motif of a lot of her tabards and whatnot are green, she seems to have a lot of pink accents on it too, which seem to be more personal than they are of any particular oath or order that she's a part of.
Yeah. Excellent. Do you like? Would she be among the older of the faculty and staff, or is she like fairly young? Do you have like an idea of like a loose age range?
I'd say somewhere like early to mid 30s.
Sure. Okay. Totally fine. All right. So we have Phyrlass and Eclaire heading off towards the direction of where the retiring Christie was resting, with Jasmine following behind. When you go to the when you finally arrive at the location, it is as you were told, Phyrlass, Christie is not there. There is like a little stone crystal-like thing on the ground, on top of a note on the ground where Christie was, though.
Phyrlass will spear the note because she is not leaning down that far for such a thing, and will retrieve it from the tip of her spear to read it.
All right. The note, when you pick it up and read it, just simply says, "Sorry, Crystals. Looks like your mascot's costume has been excavated."
Phyrlass is just going to simply silently look forward towards nothing in particular and facepalm.
I will so here's something I'd like for you to do, Phyrlass, though I think I have you have an idea. I would like for you to do let me see, what would be an appropriate check for this?
All right.
I was like, it's like some sort of mental check. All right, give me an insight check, but in this context, with advantage due to this being in the particular wheelhouse that you're in.
Alrighty. I'm just gonna type it in twice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. It would help if I actually put a space between /R and D20. Turns out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 18.
18, very good. So, one of the things I had not mentioned yet is who the Shardpoint Crystals were playing against in this upcoming game. And it's against probably the most notable rival school that has been mentioned on here, the Rockhedge Academy. Or Rockhedge Institute. This is something that was brought up during episode 4, the Akasakon one. So the Rockhedge Academy and their sports team are known as the Excavators. So the Rockhedge Excavators. And you could see
minors cause too much confusion.
Yes, exactly. There was a period of time when they were the minors, and then that got changed within one season. So there's actually like a little entry, like the one season they were the minors. It's like the one season that the I forgot what the name of the Seattle's baseball team they had when they first were made, before they were the Mariners. I'm going to look that up later on. But the point being is that like that type of, they're the Excavators. And here's the thing. You kind of know what the intention is from the note here. And the good news is this is totally not being done like maliciously, because it's just meant to be like a standard prank, stealing the other team's mascot's costume.
Right.
However, so react to that as you will, Phyrlass. That is the revelation you have here. You know what has happened pretty cleanly.
So, Eclaire, you enjoy your mischief.
I enjoy some mischief. I enjoy some tomfoolery.
And if you were to, say, steal a mascot costume, you would do so if you were inclined, yeah?
Maybe, if I thought it would be funny.
Would you think it would be particularly funny if someone was still in there?
No, I think that'd just kind of be like what's the point of that? Like, you gotta just take the suit, right?
So that is the quandary in which we find ourselves. Let's go.
Wait, are you saying someone kidnapped the person inside the suit too?
Our rivals are incompetent and foolish.
Oh my god, okay. I draw my sword. Let's go. Let's get that fucking like I'm not usually one for school spirit, but I am one for kicking some rival school asses.
I don't think anyone from our establishment would complain.
Well, it's almost like
And then enters.
So, what's this with this drawn sword here?
Oh, hey there. Teach or something. No drawn sword. Just hallucination.
We are mounting a rescue mission.
Yeah, what she said.
Oh, who are you rescuing?
The operator of the mascot costume, who was in the mascot costume that was just stolen.
Ah. Well then, do you mind if I come with you? Not that I need your permission, really. It's like, put that sword away, young lady.
I'm not putting away my sword for you. What do you fucking think? I'm goody two shoes over here, Miss. Oh, I'm gonna keep my sword sheathed at all times unless it's a sanctioned practice battle. Shut up.
I'm gonna take a few steps towards Eclaire, lean towards her, and say, "Put it away."
You know,
Or
I
I'll
was gonna
make
put it
you.
away. I was gonna put it away because we got a bit of a trip to take, but now I don't think I want to.
Put it away, or people are going to stop you every 5 minutes.
People do that all the time, man. I'll just I know how to handle myself. I don't even know why you came tailing me unless it was something that I did to you, in which case maybe we could talk about that later.
No, it's not what you've done to me. It's what you're doing to yourself. Just please put it away, and I can get us there faster. All right?
How fast are we talking?
No one harasses us.
Acceptable.
Just I'll sheath it, but just so you know, I can unsheath it at a moment's notice.
Acceptable.
You can see probably a little bit that like Eclaire might have escalated this if not for the fact that Phyrlass was like, okay, that works, let's go.
all right. So, this is so we're now at the basic premise of what's going on here. There has been an unintentional kidnapping, a harmless prank gone horribly wrong, and now Christine needs to be recovered. So, the first question I'm just throw out to you all here is, how do you want to proceed in your search? I will note, no one in this party seems to have training in survival, which is the standard tracking people skill. So
I often forget that this edition has survival.
what?
I often forget that this edition has survival.
Yes, but you're forgetting the other form of tracking. I was like, in it.
I'm trying to say, could I don't know if I could get advantage for this, but could I like broaden my search by telling my girls to look for the mascot costume too?
I'd say that there's a check that can be done using the girls to case joints and stuff like that, for sure. Yes. I would, generally speaking, the way I kind of parse it is that investigation is what you use to parse information about the immediate scene around you, and then survival is generally used for tracking trails and stuff like that, and tracking stuff there. Granted, yeah. And so, like, that investigation can be done on the scene, obviously, here. Though I think, no, actually, Eclaire does have a positive intelligence modifier in this party. I think
Yes, I do.
Claire has the highest intelligence in the party. Very funny.
At a +1?
Yes.
I have negative.
Yes.
Oh no.
Hello.
Yep.
I went with an array. It had to go somewhere. It's like,
Yes. So That's an important thing to just bring to your attention. Anyways, the point is that the investigation is on in terms of where things are. Feel free to propose like ideas you have for how to approach things. We'll work it out and we can kind of move from there.
Okay, because I would like to bring up an old school thing.
Yes.
I would like to use persuasion to gather information.
Oh, sure.
See, that's exactly
Someone
what I was
else-
going to do.
Okay, yeah.
Using persuasion.
Do you want to teamwork it?
Yeah.
I'm in for that. I'm a charisma primary. So
is Jasmine.
oh boy.
Okay, so we're going with something that you guys are good at. That's good.
Yeah.
I got my persuasion is just a +0 because my charisma is just a +0. So like,
Ideally, when it comes to like skill challenge adjacent things like this, it's like I'd like to have each player do a unique thing in the scheme of things. There,
Right.
So,
fair.
so let's.
I have ideas. You go ahead.
So
Like I had another idea. Like persuasion certainly is my strongest, but I kind of would like to take a look at the note. Probably get actually no wait, we know roughly who took it already. I was like,
right.
part of me is thinking like I could use connections to reach out to the other school because the students might be at odds, but I was like.
No, faculty are at odds too.
Yeah,
There's an entire episode
yeah.
about how
Okay.
how each member
Okay.
how no
Right.
it's like now here's the thing. Getting answers from them is possible but more difficult. It's kind of like is a thing. I have some other ideas I could propose your way based on your stats and stuff that I can kind of propose. But
Okay.
so
I do have an idea.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
So this area is very close to where Phyrlass et al. Do their thing. There are many familiar faces here. There are many familiar routes, patterns, and presences. Phyrlass is going to find the first person that doesn't seem to be here properly and is going to tower over them.
How much of a head tilt / camera pan up are we talking about? I know the answer is yes. but is it yes, or is it very, or is it like just like
I'm going to say that this person is like 5'0", and Phyrlass is just going to slam her boot against the wall to keep this individual from leaving anywhere. And is just going to lean down with like a foot of distance between them and just be all, "You are not here usually. Care to explain yourself?"
Can I get an intimidation or persuasion check from you? They're the same number, but let's
It's
just
the same
see
thing, but I'm doing intimidation because I want to do that.
Okay. To the picture here, to be clear, we got a 5'0" individual. You're lifting your foot high enough to slam it into the wall over their shoulder, and then leaning in over them in a manner or something like that, right?
Oh, there's a thing I'm going to hero point.
So I have not run with heroic inspiration in the campaign yet, per se, but let's give everyone a heroic inspiration. Oh yeah, I actually did. You can burn your heroic inspiration on that, but you'll have to take the second roll there.
I'm totally fine with taking a 17 that gives me a 23 as opposed to a natural 1.
Ah man, I was so looking forward to having this little guy just be not at all phased by Phyrlass. It would have been very fun.
I'm not a ranger, but I have a favorite enemy against little guys.
Well, this little gal, or anyways, so here's the clue that you have is that this person doesn't belong here, is that they are wearing like a rock edge athletic faculty on their shirt. They're not a student, they're a faculty member in this case.
Oh, they're
here.
really out of place then.
Well, no, they're not, because Rock Edge is on campus. They're playing at Shardpoint.
I suppose that's true. Still, there is a black leather booted heel next to their head, and I want answers.
they look at you, and I will say this: they don't look intimidated still, but they do at least give you an answer. They're just like, yeah. Listen, I was doing a quick run I was on my way to get some waters for the team. Okay, what do you want from me?
Where would everyone be hanging around? Because it would seem that someone's doing something they shouldn't be.
Well, we have our designated areas. We have the away team dorm that is set up by the field facilities. We have the locker room attached to those dorms and such. And ever since, the incident, the members of the team are not allowed to be in too much of the campus otherwise after, the incident.
Course. Right then. Phyrlass will remove her foot from the wall.
So are you going to kill me now, or is that going to be till later?
If that is something that you desire, we can discuss consent at a later time. I'm busy. And she's just going to march off and basically just throw a gesture at the other two to follow.
I like the idea that the rivalry is so intense they have to basically have like a specially quartered off area on campus to house the team just to prevent some stuff there.
Absolutely.
To be clear, this is also kind of like a college sports adjacent thing because it is the one area in which we share something with Europe insofar that we have such dramatic rivalries and such going on there. So, 1 second here. So, you've been basically given the information, and also I will point this out. Can you do a quick spot check can you give me a quick perception on your way back to the others?
Sure.
Just slap one of those real quick on your way over there.
13.
Yeah, if you look back, the person is indeed like just around the corner, fetal position. Just pointing that out here. It's just like they tried really, really, really hard to not break in front of you, but
Phyrlass is just going to just internally say to herself, "Still got it."
I also just like the idea of like this. I'm showing you just how high I can show you how easy I could kick your head in type of motion with that. I didn't miss. I don't miss. All right. So,
So yeah, Phyrlass will rejoin with the others, motion for them to follow because we know where these people should be. So if we go there and find who isn't where they should be, that helps us narrow down their search.
With that said, I just realized something actually hilarious. The person in the mascot costume, they rested under a tree, right?
You sure did, yes.
Any animals around?
Oh.
Let's just give me a D20
My
roll.
cat's around.
Give me a D20 roll on its own.
Your cat.
D20, I think.
Okay, yeah, so there's not many. With that 7, I'll say that there is like a singular squirrel like on the tree.
I'm going to cast Speak with Animals.
All right, you do so. And the squirrel is like trying to carry like the little crystal that was on the note up the tree to wherever its little hidey hole is, effectively.
Now, hey there, little fella.
This is I found it. I found this. This is mine.
Tell me, where did you find it?
It was. I found it right there. As they sort of like gesture where like it was. The note was sitting on the ground there. I found it right there. It's mine.
Mm-hmm. Did you see what happened before then?
I might have seen
someone had to. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's like I might have seen something, but I don't want to let any of my secrets out about where I get my best stuff there. So I don't know. I might have seen something, but I don't know.
I can get you something in return.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
I know some good seeds.
Seeds and nuts.
And nuts.
You're driving a hard bargain there.
5 nuts.
7.
Deal.
All right. I'm not even going to let you do a persuasion check for that. You can... okay. All right. What do you want to know?
The ones that left that crystal here, do you know where they went? Did you see where they went?
It was interesting. They came in and there was almost like a little bit of a cloud, a little bit of mist that kind of covered the area. They were a little shadowy, hard to see through the mist. I was just taking a nap, as you do, and all of a sudden I hear some rummaging. I wanted to make sure nobody was stealing any potential goods for nuts. And then I saw the big one of these just being carried off by 3 of them. That way. They sort of point. They sort of point out and gesture with the little crystal in their paws, kind of towards what would be effectively like the away team facilities for at the stadium.
I suppose that would have been a decently obvious place, but thank you very much. Mm-hmm. I'll be sure to get you your 7 nuts when I return.
I'll hold you to that.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite, by the way?
Dealer's choice. And then they sort of scurry away into like their hidey hole with the crystal in hand.
Jasmine curtsy.
Dealer's choice.
I mean, you have to keep in mind, it might be a familiar. It might be somebody who is a squirrel who got turned into a squirrel. Or it might be an actual squirrel.
I'm well aware.
And to be fair, the person being an actual squirrel, the thing might be an actual squirrel, might be the least likely of the 3, depending on things here. We did have a familiar convention happen in the past few episodes, so,
We did.
But more notably, this gives you a more precise building that the whole thing could be in, because there's actually a handful of buildings they could have been in. Now you got to point towards one of them is the way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sarah, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. My cat woke up and then he wanted food and just generally being a fucking menace.
For the record, we need you to state the name of the cat just for the record here.
Oh, yes, Ragtime. My beautiful son who causes me problems.
It's important to document the crimes committed by the cat, okay?
His crimes include scratching at my door because he wants in my room, scratching at my door because he wants out my room, and yelling at me because he wants food.
Sounds like cat.
That sounds like cat,
Yeah.
All right there. All right, so between the investigation so far of Phyrlass and Jasmine, we have an idea of which specific building the perpetrators pilfered the mascot. I couldn't think of a P word real quick there. Anyways, so with that bit of information, is there anything that Eclaire is doing specifically? You said you want to do something with the girls to try to kind of track things down here.
Yeah, I wanted the girls to help me, look for the perpetrators, or maybe since Phyrlass and Jasmine have been getting information, maybe, find, a way to get the drop on them if we know what building they're in.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. That's a possibility. There's certainly a possibility there. So, with that, I think it would be with that, I think we could head over to like the athletic facility, effectively as it is. This is one of those things I find. Sorry, this is one of the things I would find to be like an interesting thought. Like when you think about athletic facilities for a school, you have like locker room, you have a gym, you have other things for people to do conditioning and stuff like that, and the idea of each side having their own dedicated facilities to avoid like possible conflicts, but also to provide like, the idea of like, we might be heated rivals, but we don't want the students, being treated poorly kind of attitude here. It also adds to how impossibly large and convoluted the campus is for Shardpoint. Just like, does it feature X? Yeah, sure, why not? Kind of thing.
Right.
Shardpoint's just like this impossibly like big and nice school that's always on the brink of destruction and financial ruin.
Or just being audited again. Which
the
actually
worst one of all.
Which actually is an important point to think about when you're gonna resolve this. Like, you gotta be careful because you gotta do the thing, but you don't want to do anything that will like get the school in trouble in how it's done. So
so I can't. I mean, I probably will beat these guys up anyways, but like someone will have to probably stop me if things get too heated.
All right, so if you decide to make your way towards the athletic facility for the away team, as it were, is there anything that, I mean, you can still do something with your girls Eclaire if it comes to like casing the joint or figuring some things out on that front.
Yeah, my thought is like we could case the joint and like put our heads together and be like, okay, if we wanted to pull off like stealing their mascot suit, where would we put it in our athletics facility? Right,
exactly. That's a good way to think about it. Get into that delinquent mindset.
Just like if I wanted to pull off this prank, how would I do it?
It's the same. You know what? There's a lot of work for that. You realize. Think about it. The people who do consulting for internet security are people who are hackers. One of the more infamous figureheads when it comes to fraud detection is I forget his name, the author of Catch Me If You Can. A person who infamously forged many documents and lied about who he was to the point that he basically got hired by the FBI to do like counter fraud work and stuff like that. I like the idea of like Claire's she's one of our not reformed delinquents, but our delinquent investigator. Okay.
Contract delinquent.
Yeah. Okay.
I figure out things in ways you couldn't fucking believe.
So what would be the funniest way to encapsulate that into a role? I wonder.
My thought has been like maybe doing like a sleight of hand thing.
Sure.
Because it's like
yeah.
Pulling it off in like the most devious, underhanded way possible. So like, how would I sleight of hand this shit? Let me just reopen all my shit because I accidentally closed it for some reason.
Remind me, does 5th edition have an aid action?
Let me go ahead and pull up the official rules for such a thing while we get things pulled up here, because as of 2024, there are some new terms and such there for action types and such. So, there is the help action, so you can assist an ability check, and if you want to, if you want to describe how you're assisting in this case, because you are also trained in sleight of hand, Jasmine, feel free to introduce how you would assist Eclaire in this process here. Like, I can almost imagine you two, like, here's how if I may, Eclaire.
Okay.
I like the idea that Phyrlass and Jasmine went off kind of on little separate ways to kind of like do their own little checks on individuals. And then like you and the girls almost have like a almost diorama of what the crime scene is kind of like with like a little miniature version of Christy, and then a miniature version of the crystal that was left behind when Christy was heisted away.
You're just marking it with the candy.
I like to think Candy put that together.
Yeah.
Candy, she's such an artist.
I was going to say that someone on your crew is really good with popsicle sticks.
Yeah.
It's like, I also like because it's like the most nerdy way of trying to do this type of things. Like, we are going to create a diorama we're going to do the CSI type of crime scene recreation here. So, Phyrlass, and as Phyrlass Jasmine approach, you see Eclaire and her gals from the gang. By the way, what are some of the names of the other gals for Runia's sake? What are some of the other?
Oh, yeah. My two main gals, my left and right hand gals, are Candy and Coco, who are also like fighter, like weapons based, like minor magic users. Mm-hmm. I'll pull it up real quick, but I know one of them's Pact of the Blade Warlock, and the other one is like a cursed weapon user.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, all like, sweets named, all like bad bitches, as you are. So yeah. So this is what you all walk in on. Feel free to play out the interaction to lead up to the roll.
Actually, how far away was that area? It's walkable distance?
Yeah, it's walkable. Like, it's going to be like it's like a 15-minute walk kind of thing, but like, it's large campus and all, but like it's within walking distance. But like, I would say that this is all happening still kind of within hearing range of the pep rally practice going on. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. I was like,
yeah. So like you could almost, I would say that if you're you, Jasmine, you don't even need to roll for this. You're just noticing that they are basically like trying to recreate the crime and trying to sort of like get into the mind of the criminal element here.
But yeah, me helping out probably would be a case of, just adding my personal experience to the matter. Because it's like, unbeknownst so far, Jasmine is a former delinquent.
That's why. So tell me how you revealed to Eclaire that you yourself were a delinquent and know the delinquent way of life.
Well, let's see here. She would point out that, she knows a fair amount of the facilities themselves. Where they might be keeping crystal could be locked. But we don't really want to waste too much time going for the keys, and so she pulls out her lockpicking set. I was like, we're just going to have to, break it in.
Here's a thought for you. If you stole Christy, where would you stuff Christy? Where would you stuff the costume otherwise? Think of yeah.
It would have to be someplace that is secure and within easy enough sight of them, even when distracted in most cases. Probably one of their equipment storages.
So you're saying that you would have stuffed Christy in a locker? That's what I'm hearing.
Honestly.
Yeah. So
Like a classic location.
I also like Eclaire to be like very academic about this. Like, of course, a locker is a classic, but it's a classic, it's a classic for a reason,
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's endured 30 years of my life, so like.
It's like this interesting facet you're seeing into Eclaire and the girls, where it's like they can be academically minded and put their heads together for delinquency.
Yeah.
And you can just see Jasmine smile as you all are working on this. Just being like, I knew you had it in you.
Yeah. So does Eclaire have anything to say in response to hearing Jasmine, this woman that you don't even know the name of, just sort of like casually suggest like that? Yeah.
Yeah, just looks very prim, proper, like stylish, maybe even. And then it's like, yeah, no, I'm I know a few tricks.
I think that she's probably gonna like look up at you from the diorama and like squint at you and just being like, "Did you ever say who you were? Why? If are you a teacher? Like, do you teach like a locksmithing class or something? Why do you know that?"
She shifts her quarterstaff to her left hand, reaches over the diorama to hold out her hand, and goes, "Hi, Jasmine Withers. I'm your life coach."
Oh, I remember you now. I got sent to your office like once.
Mm-hmm. And you've been avoiding it ever since. So I figured I could bring the office to you.
Oh my god, that's so annoying. Whatever, you're here. You've got you've got know-how, so like that's good at least. You're not a total prude.
I mean, we all been through a lot. You never know what they'd go through.
No, you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you never know what a person's gone through.
I guess not.
Plus,
I think...
go ahead.
Sorry, we keep talking over each other.
I know,
think
it happens
that Eclaire, I'm not sure if she... I don't know if she shakes your hand back, but, like, she doesn't rebuke you or anything. She doesn't, like, slap your hand away or anything. She's just, like, skeptical of you at best, because the thing that you are doing and your way that you present yourself is so, like, different from each other that it's giving her, like, pause. I think that's all I had to say.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that my words are coming together all right. I feel like I'm kind of...
Yeah, no.
No, you're fine. I was waiting for you to be finished on that. Don't worry about that. Yeah. But like, yeah. So that's the thing I was trying to hold back from you. It was like actual like this was like yeah. So with that in hand, Eclaire, go ahead and roll me a sleight of hand with advantage, thanks to the aid of your life coach, Jasmine.
Awesome. All right, so sleight of hand.
Yep.
There's the one roll,
Uh-huh.
and there's the other one. I got a 17.
All right. So yeah, I would say that based on what you are all saying, like it makes the most sense that the perpetrators are probably like it's probably located in somewhere that's locked up. You've came to the conclusion that yeah, probably in a locker room type thing there. So sure, no problem. Now you just got to get there and get the thing taken care of.
So it's probably not a good idea to just walk in through the door and then just start running toward the equipment room, right? Unless we want to do a bold and fast approach. I'm up for a bold and fast approach. I start pulling out my sword.
I'm sitting here looking at my fine steed free once per day summon here, and I'm like, no, you can't bring out the elk. You can't have it bust down the doors. You can't.
I mean, but you can bring it out just to make the trip across campus a little bit more elegant, you know.
Yeah.
I also saw that on your list. I'm like, what type of steed were you planning on summoning with that?
Yeah. I had taken a moment to think, like, I want it to be something cool. Like, I want it to be the equivalent of finding out one of your teachers just rides a motorcycle.
Right.
And, a white elk with, like, almost, like, sparkling horns probably would do the trick.
A little bit there. Very celestial in some way, which, Eclaire is an Aasimar, so, it's a...
I am an Aasimar.
Yeah.
I was leaning a little more Fae-like, so because Oath of the Ancients. But
fair enough.
No, that's good. Yeah.
But still, like,
I don't remember if you mentioned. You said that your class. I don't remember if you said what your species was.
I'm human.
Human. Okay, that's what I figured.
it's also, I think, really fun because like a human's just so just nondescript, right? Which just sort of makes the reveal even funnier here. So yeah, so you have to make your way over to the facilities. It might be one of the things that might be a little dicey to deal with, but let's see how you perform the counter heist as it is. And whether you want, and like I said, whether you go in loud or quiet, it just kind of depends, but we'll see what happens as we move on there. So is there anything you want to do or talk about on the way over?
Well, I want to say that the first thing on my mind is to stay. Now, I want you girls to know, you need to learn to pick your battles.
I pick my battles every day of my life.
You've picked battles every day of your life. Yeah, you've picked so many battles. You're need
going
to reduce
have
them.
To be more specific.
I'm just saying that you need to learn how to reduce them.
Why?
Because then, when you do have to do your battle, it becomes that much more memorable.
If you had said like anything else, like it'll be easier to do the battles you do pick. Like maybe like Eclaire would have been like, that's the point of doing a bunch of battles is that like I want to get stronger. But like if you say memorable and she's like, well, I did have a pretty memorable battle with my rival finally, so.
And it's not just memorable for you, but for the person you've beaten down into the ground.
I like to think that as you talk about the rival out loud, like Opal, just like you see Opal, and she gives like a big cheery wave, and is about to approach with like the matching apron that she made for you for Bastion Economics, and she's about to. I'm assuming you're gonna bolt before she has a chance to do that in front of the girls.
It's just like, oh, hey, Opal, I gotta go. We're doing a rescue mission. Bye.
Important business.
With that said,
take no offense.
With that said, I cannot raise my hand too harshly against other students, even from a rival school. I can support you, however, and I can keep them from being too much of a problem. And as I said, I can overcome any lock in front of us. We don't have to rush to get keys or anything.
Oh, thank God. You have no idea. I hate keys right now. Just awful situation having to find any keys.
Keys are the worst.
All doors should be open forever.
Agreed.
Tell you what, you visit me at my office, and I'll spend some time at the end of our sessions and teach you lockpicking.
Damn, you're good.
Shit. No, what, you,
fuck, a skill I want.
It's like Jasmine can negotiate with a squirrel and a delinquent. She is a master negotiator in this case here. All right.
Just as a point of clarification, when Jasmine was saying you girls, I presume that was directed towards Eclaire and her crew and was not directed at Phyrlass.
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. Because Phyrlass would have been very confused by that.
Yeah. I don't know how Eclaire's girls are responding. I think probably I don't know. What do you think, Sketch? Are the girls receptive to life coaching?
They're more just like trying to follow your lead on the matter because they're like, is one of the teachers like actually kind of cool? No, they can't be. They're a teacher. But she says she's a life coach. She's not it can't be cool, okay? Not unless she says so. All right. Okay. Well, let's go back to making sure that the moss we're using for the grass here looks correct. Then, all right. It's like the two of them
still carrying the diorama.
Yes, of course they are. Like, listen, if you're going to do a prank or if you're going to do like really good graffiti work, you gotta prep, okay? You just can't go into a place without a plan. If you're going to graffiti an entire wall, you gotta get your scale done. You gotta figure out your supplies. If you run out of paint in the middle of it, you're screwed. You can't do anything about that. So no, they take this very seriously.
Oh my goodness. No, I don't want to go into a tangent here.
It's like the idea of I always like to imagine it's like yeah, well, what about this paint? That paint doesn't have any shear strength. If you could just scrape it off easily. It's got to have more adhesion in order for it to actually connect to there. So it connects it to itself. You got adhesion and cohesion. You gotta do both. If you're gonna glue somebody to the ceiling, you can't use that glue. I love the idea of them being like so academic, but only about delinquency shit.
Yeah. I think I'll like whisper to them like briefly, like, okay, so we all know that authority figures are inherently uncool, but I will get back to you vis-a-vis lockpicking. If it goes well, maybe I'll get you guys in on that too.
You got it, boss. Wait a minute. She says she's the boss. That means she's an authority figure. Does that mean she's not? Don't start that line of thought. We've already had this talk before.
Worry not about the specifics. We have a task at hand.
I love the idea that like we've talked about this.
Of course, they have the meeting minutes when this was discussed. This was one of those formative things. The group. But yes, but anyways, you all now do the girls join you, Eclaire, or do you keep the party smaller? What's the plan?
I think once we get to the athletic building, I'll like tell the girls like, okay, we're here. We have, which sounds like a plan of attack. I need you two to get back to our hideout and get that diorama set up with the rest of them. Because if we ever need to come back to this place, we have something set up already.
You got it. It will just take us another 35 minutes at least to get the rest of this stuff down and the glue to cure enough for us to move it safely. Understandable. I don't know why I'm so tickled pink at this diorama. It's also one of the reasons
they do good work.
Well, that's also
we have a full like scale diorama of like the entire cafeteria. We use that so often.
I also like to think of it as like it's like the delinquents version of like Warhammer, but for like engaging.
So Warhammer?
No. Like I mean, like, I don't consider people who play Warhammer delinquents, to be clear.
I don't know. Have you seen All My Friends?
I've only know of a handful of people who are into Warhammer. I would not consider them delinquents in the way that they engage in things. But like, but yeah,
it's so much fun with Wrath and Glory. I will talk about that afterward.
Fair enough. All right, so on the way over, let's see here. Trying to think, is there a complication on the way over? Let's check the table here. All right. So, simple problem. This is a simple problem in this case here. As you approach, a thing becomes very clear about the opposing team's side of things. There is a moat surrounding that side of the facilities because, of course, there is.
How big a moat?
Well, how large do you want it to be is the thing. It's large enough to be funny, but not so large that it'd be impractical to have on campus. Is the way I would kind of consider it there.
15 feet
just
across.
like large enough that you can't just step over it.
Right.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's a long. You cannot use a 10-foot pole to vault over it. It is longer than that in that respect. There.
Okay. All right. Of course, my other question is there like a drawbridge that is operated on the other side of this moat?
Okay. See, I hear drawbridge. I'm thinking, okay, I'm imagining I'm imagining borderline a Scribblenauts type of logic here, where it's not a drawbridge, but a drawn bridge. There is effectively something that people use to draw the bridge, to manifest, to conjure it into existence, because having the mechanism for an actual drawbridge would be too much.
See, like, if we're operating off of Scribblenauts logic, then the correct solution is nuclear weapons, because it will count the mission as complete before it counts us as dead.
I thought that.
I do have Moonbeam.
I thought the solution to every problem in Scribblenauts was just dead lion. I thought was. But
I wouldn't have even assumed you could make a nuke in Scribblenauts, but what do I know?
Someone I know did that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the Scribblenauts parser is extremely permissive, about as permissive as I am in this case here. So, so effectively, what I would say is that the tool used to draw the bridge is on the other side, and it's sort of like protected to prevent somebody from just like mage handing a hand to draw the bridge in there. So getting across there is needed, but only one person needs to do it, probably.
I can do that. I can make wings because I'm an Aasimar.
Mm-hmm.
You could.
Or
I can Misty Step over.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could Misty Step over.
I have a ring of jumping.
We all have the solution. Yay!
I was borderline hoping for the what was it, the elk that you were planning on summoning, like just leaping across it.
I'm just like thinking of this in like the terms of like Oregon Trail, and it's like, okay, for the river, cock the elk.
That's right.
I mean,
wait for conditions to
looking
improve.
at it, you know what? It's hilarious because the Fae version of this, not only, well, I mean, first and foremost, 18 strength, I think it probably could leap it over. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, the Fae version of the steed has Fae Step.
That's right.
Teleports along with its rider to an unoccupied space of your choice up to 60 feet away.
Oh.
Yes. That is one of the things they actually did to augment the Find Steed spell in 2024, was actually give the steed a once per day, like, free thing that it can do like that, which is neat.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty sick.
Also, it automatically regains hit points if you are within 5 feet of it when you get healed.
It sounds like we should let the beautiful white elk leap and bound across the moat.
I also
why not? I'll make use of my free once per day use of Find Steed to bring this elk into existence.
Does your elk have?
We'll say that it was actually
Elkin Star.
No. I wish, but that's too close to Elminster, and I don't want to name it after Mary Sue.
Yeah, it's like it'd be a weird double reference to a specific campaign in PF2E, and then Elminster at the same time. So,
no, the consequences of my actions.
Nope. Yeah. So, I didn't mean to interrupt you when you were describing like calling out the elf, but bring it out in a flourish here. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. I figure it isn't too big of a ceremony to call it out. It very much is just seemingly, I want to say, echoey, ethereal whistle that she performs. And then, like, from behind a random tree, it just pokes its head out.
It pokes its head out. Yeah.
And then just rounds the corner and just, trots right over. Like, it doesn't matter where they are. If there is some random corner, it just would, casually pop out from it.
I'm suddenly reminded of, like, summoning your chocobo in Final Fantasy 16 or other such games where you call your mount, turn around, is just right there.
Yeah.
I always like to imagine that as soon as your elk walks into the picture, the tree that appeared behind falls over because it was like a fake tree that was just there, just for the purpose of hiding the load-in of the elk.
It was the only tree for like 3 miles. Where did that come from?
I was just gonna say, its manifestation is camera based.
But not like creepy Watson levels, you know?
No, not creepy Watson based. Like if you spin really fast, it doesn't just appear in front of your face, eager for stuff. I also had a real funny mental image of how Jasmine might slow roll this whole thing out. The idea of her like acting like she's going to try to jump it normally with the elk, and when it's clear that she's going to fall very short, just face step over, be like, "Gotcha." if she wanted to do a little fun thing, a little joke in that respect, but again, so that's an easy way to cross over, no problem. When you're over there, you can get close enough to draw the drawbridge to draw it out into existence. If there's any details,
I don't need to make a performance check.
for the drawing.
Yeah,
I would say sleight of hand would be more appropriate in that case. There, I mean, like you're moving the hand.
Fair enough.
I mean, let's see how good of a bridge you've drawn in the drawbridge drawer.
Not bad.
What was that again? Can you read it?
18.
18. Okay. Yeah, you've drawn. It's beyond cromulent. It is even more than satisfactory. It is a fantastic bridge. I'll even give you one better. You've drawn the bridge in a manner that looks like it would have been drawn by a Rokej person, to make it not seem obvious to someone who might be appearing like that someone else is drawing the bridge.
You have drawn the best bridge at drawbridge.
You didn't drawbridge garbage in this case here. But yes. So with that bridge created, it should be easy enough for everyone to cross over. Can I get stealth checks from Eclaire and Phyrlass?
Sure, why not?
I have disadvantage on stealth checks because of my awesome spiked leather jacket, which is my armor.
I just rolled garbage.
I am going to use my luck bonus, my luck point here, to give me advantage to negate my disadvantage.
Oh, you don't need to roll stealth in this case. You've already crossed over. This was for specifically Eclaire and Phyrlass, since they're crossing over, through that way there.
I got a 10.
Okay.
I rolled a 3, which totals me out to a 6. So, turns out, Phyrlass, who attracts attention to herself, has attracted attention to herself.
Well, you don't know when you've attracted attention to yourself, but yeah, you subtlety is not Phyrlass's game plan. Imagine the subtle squad, just like
I'm actually fairly decent at stealth by virtue of I'm unarmored and I have 16 dex. But yeah.
All right. So you got past the bridge. It dissipates shortly afterwards, and then of course there's the door into the facility. Which, any guesses?
Is it locked?
Maybe. It might just be locked. So,
Well then.
Jasmine, would you care to crack that lock then, I guess? I think I heard some knuckle cracking going on there.
Yep. Okay. Let's get this thing rolling. Just gonna whip out the toolkit, grab like 3 tools, 2 are stuck into her mouth. And she's like, play lookout for me.
Yeah.
This is how Phyrlass is going to be seen. She's just going to stand guard and cover because she's large.
So I guess my question is like, is there like I can't help but think about particular lock picking YouTubers when I see this sort of thing. It's like, do you almost narrate as you pick the lock to yourself as you're going through it, or is there any other flourish you do when it comes to that?
Like, it very much is a case of like They chose that type of look. We're going to need these two tools in particular.
I'm looking over your shoulder,
it's like,
trying to listen.
yeah, it's like, you see, like, yeah, there's that little hitch that's in every one of these things. Just gotta jiggle that a little, and then I have to. Oh, okay, hold on a second. And then she thumps the door and twists quickly.
I like to imagine that while this is going on, like someone nondescript is just like passing by, sees Phyrlass just standing there with her arms folded over her chest, and she's just like, "Concern yourself not, keep moving."
We're engaging in subterfuge here. Please move along. Just like,
You have not seen us.
Not even like bringing attention to the other two, just attracting all the attention to herself and just saying, "Don't worry about it."
But yeah, that's a 17.
yeah, excellent. There is a slight twist. There's a slight hitch in the whole thing though when you finish picking the lock. It's very simple. There's almost like a faint like ding, like a congratulatory like a sound that is made when you pick the lock. Yes, because more likely than not, this is based on the same design as the locks used in the lockpicking classes at the school. So it's there to just reward the student for successfully picking the lock. And someone just slammed it into this door here.
To which Jasmine's like, "Oh, that's sweet." Wait a minute.
it's like a prominent ding, and almost like as you say, "Wait a minute," like the door just kind of the double doors just kind of open on their own, almost ominously.
Okay.
All right.
Thank goodness, because if someone had opened the door, I would have just swung and I was like, "Run!" No.
I just like the idea of like okay, if I was practicing lockpicking, I'd love it to have like, just the
A confirmation. Yeah,
a little confirmation thing. That'd be nice for someone who's doing lockpicking there. Just, a little hurrah. I also had the idea of the lockpick changing. It's like being like a mystery dungeon. It just changes its interior every time. So there's no key for the lock. You have to lockpick it to open it every time. Got to put that in the back pocket. That's a fun idea for a magical item.
Just when the doors like open on their own, Eclaire is like already pulling out her sword, and it's like, "Okay, I'm pulling it out this time, and you can't stop me this time. I'm going in. Okay."
Phyrlass is just going to follow behind without any words, casually.
Wait, hold on a second. It's like,
She'll duck to get through the door frame, though.
quickly grabbing all of her stuff. It's like, and putting away her tools. It's like, hold on a second, Eclaire. It's like, I need to give you something. It's like,
You can just if you got something to give me, you can give me while I walk.
it's like, okay. It's like, and she walks over and hands you a ring. It's like,
Oh, what is this ring?
put it on.
Are you going
This
to
seems a
curse
bit
me?
forward.
Listen, okay. Do you attend any magic classes?
I avoid the magic classes that I'm assigned to.
Okay, then a quick rundown. Very simple thing. Sometimes magic requires particular tools. This is one of them.
Okay, but if I get cursed from this thing, then
You will
my
not be
girl
cursed.
Coco
If anything, this
is going to
be
have
the
some
exact,
words with you.
If anything, this is the exact opposite. This is going to be a blessing.
I think having words with you is exactly what she wants anyway.
Listen, it's my job to protect you. All right?
Like I'm gonna hold this ring and can I do an Arcana check just to check that there's no like malevolent energy radiating off it like a JoJo character.
If you're asking me and not the GM.
Well, I don't even know what this ring is, so I don't know what this is having to do with anything. So like that, this is all in your hands, everyone. What type of ring is it, though? I mean, an easy way to do it would be like, hey, Eclaire, with your positive intelligence score, roll an Arcana check.
Yeah, like I guess I'm asking Renea, but like she's not gonna put it on like right away until she like looks at it with her ASMR eyes.
You're asking Runia in this case here.
Runia.
Yeah.
I said Runia.
You said Renea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, so like, do you want to reveal what the ring is right now, or?
Yeah, it's basically a platinum ring that is part of a pair needed for warding bond.
Ah.
Should I still roll, or do I just? Get to know.
I mean, you can.
I kind of like the idea of Eclaire getting the wrong idea.
Mm-hmm. It's like, and with this ring, I now pronounce you, counselor and delinquent.
Like you
it's
can
like one of
never
those
escape
promise rings that you got that you makes the, like a student wear to be like, oh, I promise that I'll be a good little kid.
If that'll is what it'll take you to wear it, yes.
Listen, I like.
Be thankful it is a ring. It could be a collar.
You know what? Fair enough.
Would have words with my particular faith if it was a collar.
With a large reduce, anything can be a collar in that respect. Anyways. Yes, so, yeah. I mean, this feels like Jasmine making the offer to Eclaire is like, okay, it's just, you know, I'm actually not a square, okay? You can trust me to actually not curb your style.
Just like, if this thing helps me, like, with, like, putting a beat down on some rival kidnappers, then, like, sure, yeah, let's give it a try.
I'm sad that we don't have appraisal checks anymore.
Yeah, that's why I was going to be like, Arcana would be the thing, and basically to glean if there's anything magical going on in there. Like, yeah.
I mostly just wanted to roll Arcana to see if, like, it was kind of like an insight, but because it's a magic ring, that's what I thought of first.
You know what? Like, a part of me wants to, you know, I'm not sure if I spoke of a particular detail. I'd say perception or Arcana for this little extra thing, if you want it. If you want it.
Okay, my Arcana has a better modifier, and I got a 10, so I probably don't notice it.
I mean, it's shiny. Probably silver. It's like, definitely looks like it would be worth a pretty penny if you just took it from her.
Yeah. It's, I mean, and to be clear.
It's on the back of her mind.
Yeah, and to be clear, like, yeah, like it is. It's, you know, the spell warding bond was mentioned, and that is the material component for it is a pair of platinum rings that the two sides have to wear to gain the benefit there. Which, I mean, I can go over the mechanics of what that is, but this is not about mechanics. This is about character. So, so.
I want to make a point of saying that she puts it on her middle finger.
Oh, perfect. It fits. It fits perfectly somehow. Almost like she expected you to wear it on your middle finger, I would almost assume.
Or, you know, she does the same.
Ah, look at that. Cute. All right, cool.
It is wonderful that you two are bonding in this manner. Let us be off.
Well, no. I do have to pause before you do that in character, Phyrlass. Sorry, this is the GM. Hold on for just a second here. Runia, can you read what warding bond does?
Okay. You touch another creature that is willing, create a mystical connection between you and the target until the spell ends. While the target is within 60 feet of you, it gains a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws, and has resistance to all damage.
Also,
Okay, fine, I'll read the rest of the spell. Also, each time it takes damage, you take the same amount of damage. The spell ends if you drop to 0 hit points, or if you and the target become separated by more than 60 feet. It also ends if the spell is cast again on either of the connected creatures. Yada yada.
That. So yes, So Eclaire does not know any of this, but I will say to you, Eclaire, when you put the ring on, you do feel a little tougher. Like you're like, yeah, you know, you think, could I make like brass knuckles out of this? You know,
Just if I got enough of these to make a brass knuckles. Like, I'm not that much of a puncher, but, you know, I bet I could make use of that.
I just love the idea. Warding bond knuckles, where it's just 5 times the effect somehow.
Warding bond brass knuckles, where you're connected to your entire party, and you all go KO at the same time.
Exactly.
High risk, high reward, baby.
Where we fall one, we fall all. You know. So, anyways, Phyrlass, you said you were nudging to get people to move in this case here, right?
I am a leader.
You are a leader, yes. So, after this extended, almost heart to heart, though it's not really quite one, I would say, between Jasmine and Eclaire, and at Phyrlass's direction, when the three of you move to enter through the double doors into the space, the doors swing closed behind you because, of course, they do.
I would expect no less.
Yes.
Can I... boy. I was going to say, can I do something tricky?
I don't know. Can you rock a rhyme that's right on time?
No.
Oh, well, it is tricky. It is tricky, though. So
it is tricky.
It is, yeah. Tricky. Anyway, so what do you think about doing?
I like how that whole bit just stopped on a dime.
Yeah, I'm just not that fine, you know? But in either case, I was thinking...
Yeah, back to the crime.
Since I have some old delinquency experience, maybe borderline crime, honestly, a part of me is like, since it opened up on its own, it would be reasonable to expect it to close on its own. Could I place surreptitiously a sling bullet just in the right path to keep it from shutting completely?
I will say, give me a dexterity saving throw in this case here.
All right. I would like to spend a luck point.
Well, sure. You can have advantage on it then in that case. Yep. So
that's a 13.
A 13. So what I'll say is that you are barely able to get something out there to kind of have it slightly ajar. So it doesn't completely latch shut, but it also is a little obvious that there is something kind of holding it there. So depending on how long it takes, somebody might notice and dislodge the thing in that respect. But you get something out in there. So the door closes behind you, and you find yourself just in a hallway with a couple of doors and some fairly utilitarian signs and such. For Shardpoint veterans, this is one of those rare cases where the doors aren't just portals to other random places, because that would create some problems. So yeah, there's a couple of doors to your left. You see the weight room. A little bit further down, you see cafeteria facilities. Further down the hall on the right hand side, you even see meeting room or meeting space or auditorium, effectively, for reviewing stuff. And then the door that's closest to you on your right-hand side does have the word like locker/changing room over it.
Phyrlass will simply make her way over there, and I'm assuming that this has like one of those safety bar kind of deals.
Safety bar? Oh yeah, like safety bars in terms of
when the kind of door where you just like press the bar into it, like with your body or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It opens.
It would do that from the inside, not from the outside.
Got it.
Just because, like, fire code, doors have to open towards the exterior, not towards the interior in facilities like
That makes
these.
sense enough.
So, but you can,
Panic bar. That's what it's called.
Yes, that would be, I think, a term for it for sure. Yeah,
that's the proper term. I was close. I wasn't quite there.
The panic bar is on the inside, not on the outside. There.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, Phyrlass will open the door and make her way through.
All right.
We would follow behind, or at least I would follow behind. It's like,
Yep.
Oh yeah, we all going.
schmoovin'.
Yep, schmoove in there. Okay, so as you all schmoove on in into the locker room, it's vacant for the most part. This is because the majority of the team is out on the field practicing like the sports stuff. Shardpoint Crystals seems to be a little more concerned about the pep rally side of things, and Rockedge is really more serious about the sports side in this particular instance here. So locker room feels very vacant. It has obviously like magical lights around, but of course the lights give off like a not so great cast of light. There's a slight green tinge on things, like fluorescent lighting, and there's even a faint hum that they emit that has no functional purpose other than to resemble fluorescent lighting for some reason. Some graduate student has ideas and I don't like him. But anyways, as you go in there, yes, you have a locker room. There's some gear around. There doesn't seem to be anyone inside right now, but there's definitely a lot of like lockers or things that are closed with locks on them and such. Phyrlass, how would you like to try to negotiate going through this environment here, if at all?
Can I ask a question to Phyrlass?
Sure.
Do you know what kind of person is in the costume?
So out of character, that was something we were leaving to sketch as a reveal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So Phyrlass knows. I, the player, do not.
Yeah, Phyrlass would know the person in the costume. It is the person who's in the costume. I'm going to say, sorry, 1 second there. I'm going to say the person in the costume was one of the shorter in frame student body members there. I didn't have a good name clocked for them, but they are either like something like a halfling, a gnome, or just a small variant of one of the other species. It's like whatever feels kind of fun is the matter, but like they're fairly compact. Like if the question is could they be stuffed into one of the lockers, the answer is yes, they could, even in costume.
Yeah.
It also explains why these people picked up this costume and didn't immediately clock there was a person inside.
Yes.
They're
not an orc.
Yeah, no, they're not an orc. Like I would say, like the question it would be like, what would be a fun species for them to be? Would be a fun ancestry for them to be? I'm just looking over the different option. There's like, no, fairy might be too small in that respect there.
I'll admit that I mostly asked because I was wondering if divine sense would pick it up. But no. That would...
But, it's interesting. That's an interesting point to bring up. I had not considered that in my like thinking here. Can you reread Divine Sense real quick for me on that? And then Phyrlass in the meantime.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
So I do have an idea.
Go for it. Yeah.
So lockers are, broadly, metallic, elongated cubes that are hollow, which means that there's a lot of resonance inside of them, particularly if they're empty.
Correct.
So, Phyrlass is simply going to, how do I phrase this? Is just going to stroll through and is just going to tap out the beat of the performance that the mascot wearer would be most familiar with on the surface of the lockers. One, so that she can discern this one has, something in it, something that doesn't resonate at all is going to be a likely candidate. And two, that's going to be a familiar tune. So, whoever's in there might actually understand, wait, friendly.
I mean, I was just like, I see you're gutting to use your performance check to do the investigation.
What?
Here.
No, it's not my best skill. I'm not a primary charisma character with an expertise in it.
You didn't need to go that far to make me do this because, as somebody who studied percussion in college, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Just roll your performance check, okay?
Listen, I thought it was a cool idea. Leave me alone.
It is a cool idea. That's why I also had it.
Oh, sure. 19.
Mean to her.
Yeah.
19. So, Phyrlass, I would say, you walk along delicately just tapping the fight song. One of them. There's multiple fight songs. There's fight songs for whether you're winning, losing, the game is tied, it's within the last 2 minutes, the last 30 seconds. There's a different fight song for each scenario. So you have a whole litany of them to tap out. And you are able to clock down specific lockers that at the very least you could suspect have something leaning against the front door that is reducing the resonance by muting the tapping there. So you are able to kind of narrow down which ones. And you could probably assume which ones are more body sized. Maybe it's a bunch of gear. Maybe it's a corpse, or maybe it's Christy. Who knows?
So yeah, Phyrlass will, mark them in the sense of, basically going like this one, this one, this one. Basically just indicating these are ones to consider cracking.
Okay.
So, getting back to you on what Divine Sense does. For the next 10 minutes, or until incapacitated, you know the location of any celestials, fiends, and undead within 60 feet, and you know its creature type. In the same radius, you can also detect the presence of any place/object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hollow spell.
I like how you have all of these tools specifically to just find Eclaire.
Yeah, it's a really funny.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I was just like, oh yeah, that seems like a helpful tool to have.
Here's the thing, though.
Just rename it Detect Eclaire.
Yeah, I was just going to say, here's the thing, though. I'm unsure if ASMR and tieflings have the celestial or fiend traits on them. So
they have the legacies, right? They have the legacies in place there. So I would say that there's a difference because they're not classified as capital C and F celestials and fiends because that would actually be a detriment in many ways mechanically. However,
right.
You can still clock them. Yeah, that's definitely you can get I get a faint impression. It's you're related in some way, but
I also noticed that it isn't asking me to choose one to detect. It just is that I can sense them and know exactly which of the three they are.
Also, small sidebar based on what we said there. I have to give the writers for 2024 a little bit of props. So they actually have pronunciation guides on the different species. So Aasimar is listed out clearly as there's good.
Is that actually how you pronounce it? I never knew.
Yes, Aasimar.
I knew how tiefling was because boy howdy, a lot of people got that a wrong time. I wasn't sure about Aasimar.
Yeah, and it even tells you what the stress it's again. They learned that they have better people writing it in the 2024 version. Anyways, so
that's fair.
I will give you this though so far. So you aren't able to clock too many about that. You are able to sense, like, occasionally, like, the sense of some sort of, like, celestial or, you know, fiendish type of entity, like, outside of the door in passing. But it's the same sort of faintness that you kind of feel from Eclaire. So it may not necessarily help you find where Christy is. It does give you a way to sense if someone might be approaching. So that will help out avoid getting surprised if a fight were to break out.
Noted.
So you got a couple of lockers that have been noted out by Phyrlass. And I will say this. Can you give me a follow-up on that performance check there, Phyrlass?
Sure. Can I just press up and make it repeat? Yes, I can. 27.
Woo!
Cool. Excellent. So Phyrlass does a second pass as things are being done. And as you pass one of the lockers, it sort of like faintly rattles in a reply cadence to yours.
Phyrlass is just going to point right at and is just going to stop.
It seems
this one.
It seems that, yes. So your Phyrlass points to a locker that does have a lock on it of some sort. And there is a faint rattle on the inside of it.
If you would be so kind.
All right. I guess we move up to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of lock does it have?
Good question, right? Like, it's like, okay, what would be like the cheapest locks would be like some sort of master locks, like bastard lock or something, you know?
Meister lock.
Well, yeah, Meister lock. That's a good one. Let's see here. But yeah, like, so what we have here is a padlock that has a combination lock on it. So picking it may not be necessarily the best play at hand there, but there could still be some work done to work through it there.
Oh yeah, no, it's very simple. And I just grab my dagger. It's like, all right, I need you two to swear.
Fuck.
I don't tend to do that, but she does often.
No, I mean like an oath. What I'm about to do, do not repeat it lightly. Only for emergencies, understand? Also, this is a good reason why you should have a solid dagger. And I kind of jam it into the locking mechanism and attempt to wrench it into inoperability, to straight up break it.
See, I'm familiar with this technique when you use two wrenches to do this here, but I understand the principle
right,
entirely here. Yes. For the audience at home, do you want to explain why this works so well on these sort of locks, Runia, or?
Well, mostly working down off of a really old, what is it called? A really old Scrooge McDuck comic where the Beagle Boys make it a point after tricking someone with that they have designed the perfect lock, saying, you know, the perfect lock doesn't matter if what's holding it is a piece of shit.
This is actually a major principle when it comes to intrusion. Whether you're a locksmith or what I find really fun, there's a term called a pen tester. Which stands for penetration tester, which is a person who deals with penetrating into buildings and testing security stuff there. And you're hitting on a very poignant point. This padlock could have like a 50-point combination that's impossible to brute force. But if the latching mechanism sucks, you could just pop it off. And
those are the strongest ropes in the world. Like, the ropes are strong, but not your ship.
Yep. So give me an athletics check to pry this thing open.
All right. Okay, athletics.
Let's see what we got here.
Can I spend a luck point?
Yes, you can, to give yourself advantage for sure.
All right. At least it kept me from getting the whack.
Okay, so here is... So give me read the two rolls you got there.
I rolled a 5 and a 1,
Yes.
resulting in 10 and 6.
Thankfully, because this is with a luck point and a heroic inspiration, you can take the higher of the two since this is advantage. So you rolled a 10. Here is how I'm going to say this happens. You're working on prying the lock there. It's taking a little while, but you're making inroads while Eclaire and Phyrlass are watching. However, it's
I'm going back and forth between like explaining the principles of what I'm doing as what I'm doing it. It's like, and the two of them staring at me like, I never thought I'd have a teacher do this, especially one that who is a life coach and seemingly a paladin.
I like the idea. I'm trying to go other scenarios where this would be funny. It's like you're teaching someone how to cut something with antifreeze or something like that. One episode of The Simpsons, like, okay, if you put just enough in there, it will taste fine and not be poisoned. But if you put any more than this, you're poisoning people. And don't do that unless they really deserve it. But don't do it because they don't actually deserve it unless they do. But don't do it. And then
I'm actually going to say that Phyrlass is keeping an eye out because these particularities don't really concern her.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so as you keep an eye out, you can go ahead and roll perception then in that case, Phyrlass.
Alrighty. Total of 11. I keep rolling below my passive.
That is true, and it's okay because I think we'll double check your passive here real quick here. Okay, yeah,
My passive would be 14.
Yeah, that would have been high enough anyways. So in this case here, so it's just the thing about it is that the important thing here, Jasmine, is that it does work. It just takes a while to get there. And when you get it open, there's two things that kind of happen. The lock kind of pops off rather loudly, clatters on the ground, and then reassembles itself after the latch has been knocked off the top of the lock. Yeah, it's at least reusable. It's not broken. The door to the locker swings open, and then Christy falls out of the locker into a onto the ground. So a bit of noise happens. At the same time, the door opens into the locker and three figures sort of hurry on in quickly. Within, I would say, 6 seconds or so of the locker being opened and Christy falling out of it. Three figures rush in, and the lighting in the locker room makes it hard to see them right away. But there is sort of wait, who's there? Who's there? Who's going on there? What's going on?
I am going to take advantage of the fact that I am a drow, and I'm going to throw darkness.
You can do so.
And just kind of indicate everyone else to head for the other exit.
There's only one entrance. All
right, well, that makes it easier to sneak around them. They can't see us. We know the way.
But they're standing at the door. I'm not going to let you get out of here without a fight at this point, is my whole point.
I'm not trying to get out of a fight. I'm just trying to be a menace.
It's fine. I would say you can throw darkness up, and that's fine. But beyond that, I'm going to say that we're going to roll initiative at this point.
Finally, Eclaire yells.
Okay, so who can see in darkness, by the way?
I can.
I do have dark vision, although this is, darkness, the spell.
Yeah, I figured darkness, the spell, does not work with dark vision.
Unless you have specific things that counter magical darkness, yes.
Of course.
Okay.
Wow,
excellent.
+9 to initiative. Nice.
Yeah, my... So I have 3 decks. My class gives me my charisma to my initiative, and then I also have alert.
Then you have alert. I was about to say improved initiative. I was like, no, that doesn't exist anymore. it's wrapped up in all that.
Let's get some initiative numbers real quick here.
So I rolled a 25.
Okay,
I rolled a 22 with a nat 20.
22 with a nat 20.
I rolled a 16.
Excellent. So,
And, oh, hey, I also have initiative swap. So, Eclaire, would you like to go on 25?
I would like to go on 25.
all right. So, yeah, that is a feature that Phyrlass has available. So, we go ahead and get Eclaire written down here. Jasmine. And then I have the 21. I have Eclaire. I have a Phyrlass at 16. And then I have student. Okay.
How big is this room, by the way?
I mean, it's plenty large enough for like not to be cramped up or anything like that. There. All right. So the initiative order I have here is Eclaire, Jasmine, the largest of the three figures there, Phyrlass, and then two shorter figures effectively is in the order that they're. So we're going to go ahead and start us off at Eclaire at 25. So you have these three figures. They come in. They're a little like confused about what's going on. And then Phyrlass just throws up darkness into the room, surrounding like where is the darkness centered upon, Phyrlass?
Basically on their position, so that we can approach them easily enough, but they're not going to know from which way we approach unless they actually pay attention.
Fair enough. All right. 1 second here. All right. So you have, Eclaire, you have basically, you know where these people are roughly, but you don't have direct line of sight of them. And you can't see through the darkness that has been cast up, and non-magical light cannot illuminate it unless it is light created by a 3rd level spell or higher. So
Okay, so I can't use my light cantrip, is what you're saying.
correct. It will immediately dispel it as soon as you walk in there. Yes.
Fuck, I was gonna like light my sword with my cantrip, and it was gonna be really cool.
I mean, you can still do that. It's just not going to be too useful.
No.
No, it won't. So why even bother?
No.
It's sadly I only have 2nd level.
Yeah. What you can do, though, if you want to, you can go to the perimeter of the shadow and like ready to strike at somebody once you see them.
Yeah, definitely like gathering toward the perimeter. Like I want to like look for like, I don't know, like the edge of someone like on the perimeter of this darkness and strike when I see them.
Okay. So you're ready to make a strike when that happens there. Jasmine, you have a turn before anyone on the other side gets to do anything. What would you like to do in anticipation of this?
I'm going to cast Bless. And place a +1. No, wait. Everyone has a 1d4 to their attack rolls or saves for 1 minute.
Okay. Excellent. 1 second. Yep.
Technically, it's to bless up to 3 creatures, but since we've only got 3 people in the party.
Hey, funny that.
Hey, exactly. Funny that. All right. So give me just one little second here then to. So after Jasmine, so now do you do anything else in your turn after casting Bless there, Jasmine?
Yes. I want a quick check on Christy. Like, is she hurt? Is she?
Christy appears to be just like there doesn't seem to be any damage to the outfit. You can't see like what's inside the outfit, but like there's no like groans of pain or other like that, and there's no like visible damage to the exterior to indicate like any force was applied.
Okay.
Like
because I was gonna because I had lay on hands ready and waiting to.
you can always do that for free. Like whether if you, I don't know exactly how to describe using lay on hands to somebody who does not have like hit point loss, but I don't know if that's actually a thing that is like formulated in any of the rules there. Oh no. Well,
No, not really.
up to that. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. If you want to use lay in hand, you can. I'm not saying that you need to worry about that quite yet, though. So,
Yeah. With that said, I am probably going to move up and with a shield, and I'd say stand a little ways from Eclaire to be the other quote unquote tank.
Mm-hmm.
And just to hold position there, just ready to take a hit.
All right. Well, as you get into position, the first of your opponents gets their turn, and there is sort of like oh geez, what's with this? Okay, one sec. There's a little bit of a you can't see it, but there's like a moment of a gesture, and all of a sudden the darkness is dispelled out as the tallest of the three, who looks to be like they're also wearing like a Rock Edge academic athletic faculty sweater is like a sweatshirt, is standing there using dispel magic to eliminate the darkness around them. And it's just, and before they're like, wait, what are Shardpoint people doing in here?
You imbeciles, you have abducted an innocent.
Did you wait? An innocent? Like there's just like a little bit of like a confused look on the face of the individual that appears to be like the instructor of the pair, and then they are they're a tallish humanoid of some sort. I would say it's not super important to get into details about that, but like there's just like a really confused look at their face when they're saying like it's just a tradition. We come in, we steal the costume. That's what we do.
There's someone in the costume.
Did you two? And like there's like this like pure like no, right. The instructor has already burned their action, dispelling the thing, so they can't do anything else there. But there's this bewilderment on their face when that is revealed to them. They're just like, what did you two? Like kind of gesture over there. So while that person is trying to suss out what's going on, it is Phyrlass's turn.
All right. So Phyrlass, being Phyrlass, is going to position herself in front of the other two, and I'm going to do my thing and begin my my usual dance, which is to say I'm going to do my dodge, and I'm going to enable some attacks if anyone is able to take them, and if not, don't worry about it. I am, however, going to use one of my leadership dice to distract. I'm going to go with not the big one. Sure.
We got two. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm going to assume I don't know what their initiative is, but Phyrlass is just going to kind of guess that the more agitated of the other two is the one who's going to go first. So I'm going to throw my distract on that one.
Mm-hmm. I'll also point out that Eclaire does have a reaction that she can invoke already because she was readying it until she saw somebody. So.
Oh yeah, I've never really readied an action before, so I wasn't quite sure how that works.
Takes some getting used to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you.
I think it's new to 2024. I can't remember if it's ready or delay that was removed.
Delay was removed in 5th edition because moving yourself around an initiative order would play weirdly with spells that specifically last until your turn, and that's why they don't really allow people to change initiatives generally in encounters, though at the very beginning of a fight, it's not that big of a deal. But like, let's say you have a spell that lasts until the end of your next turn in your first initiative, and then you delay to the end, so you get a longer time frame for it. That's why those things were not really done. So the ready action is just on your turn, you take an action to say, if this, then I do that. And then then I do that is your reaction. So you're using reaction to attack. I would say that you got clearly a member of the of that, and they have like what looks to be 2 work study students, athletes, something like that. They're wearing some athletic gear though, so they're not like completely unarmored. But we got, let's say, one that's more human size and one that's a little bit shorter, closer to gnome halfling size. Which of those do you want to go to lash out at?
Let's go for the human-sized person.
All right. So go ahead and roll me an attack roll. 21.
We got a 21.
Will hit. All right.
Yeah, baby. And I get like, do I get 2 attacks because I'm a fighter? Do I remember
You can
that right?
do 2 attack rolls. Correct. Yes.
Does it have to be on the same person?
Nope. They can be on 2 separate people. Yes.
Okay, so let me roll the damage for the first one.
11. Okay.
We got 11, and then we're gonna hit the little shorter guy, 26.
That one will also hit. I'm just like
I hope so.
And that's a 12.
Oh, you rolled max.
I'm just gonna like swing my sword like in a big like arch and just be like, prank better.
I'm going to assume that you're not trying to draw blood here. Right?
No, she's not.
I just like the idea of like yes, you're beating up the rivals, but at the same time, it's like you have to remember this is a slightly toned down Vorpal sword, where we are not in the business of like murdering people in this thing here. This is completing the cycle of you found out the prank and now you're inflicting punishment. Basically, I like the idea of like you're almost like paddling them with the flat of the sword. Also, more notably though, that's a longsword type weapon, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Which means you get to invoke what mastery property from it?
Oh yeah, mastery. I get sap if you hit a creature with a long sword. That creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of my next turn.
That is correct, and it's really nice that is brought up there because of their turn coming up soon. All right, back to you, Phyrlass. Who you're enabling to attack at this moment?
I'm just going to encourage further wrongs from Eclaire.
I believe that requires someone to use a reaction to do the attack.
It does.
So that Eclaire would not be able to benefit from that because she's used her reaction to do her ready action. But there's someone else with a sword.
This is true. All right. I will direct the newcomer into the dance of the battle plan, and basically just say, "Charge!"
Jasmine. Who do you want to like?
You can use a reaction to get a free attack.
Yes.
I'm familiar with this. I'm familiar so much with this. And I think I'm just going to go tangle with the teacher here. He's like,
yep.
And kind of just throw, kind of lean in as I swing at them, saying like, yeah, I know it's a mistake, but you know what? This makes for good, what is it? Rescue procedures. So, let's just run with it.
You get it. All right. So go ahead and roll that attack roll there.
Like this is good practice for adventuring. So let's go with it. So rolling with my quarterstaff, I was like, that's 22. I was like,
22 will hit pretty much anyone. So no problem. Is there anything you want to do like special with that?
Even
though I know you're burning reaction to do this, but you're also a paladin, so.
I mean, I don't want to hit too hard, but that is a good point. And it's a one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a free use of Divine Smite because in the end, it's still a rival school.
Fair enough. Excellent. So go ahead and roll your damage and your Divine Smite on top of that there.
get their asses.
I'm also very curious. Do you have character sheets, or is this connected to our sheets?
There are we can connect this to sheets. I have something called Beyond 20 where I can press the button and just roll like from there. If I like that, I can cast it from the character sheet directly there. So like that is an option.
I see. So I will certainly do it from my end as well.
Yeah. If you have Beyond 20 installed,
that?
it should connect in here, no problem. Yeah.
Oh, if I have Beyond 20? No, I don't have that installed. I'll do it myself.
Yeah. I think the only...
it was...
Yeah, since I'm using a homebrew, I can't actually do that, so I have to type everything out by hand.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only other one that has Beyond 20 set up right now.
Like, I have it set up, I just can't use it for this character.
Because you can't do custom classes in D&D Beyond there.
Okay, I'm going to really do the type it out. Is it /R or /roll?
/R or roll. Either one works.
Okay, either one.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a space afterwards.
Yep. And I believe you're doing a total of what? You're doing this two-handed or one-handed with the quarterstaff? One-handed or two-handed?
I'm doing it one-handed because I have a shield up.
Fair enough.
So let's see here.
So
and then Divine Smite adds 2d8.
Correct, yes. So
8 plus...
I'm just waiting for the result to happen so I can add in my little extra thing.
Yeah.
9.
9? Okay.
Add an extra 3 to that because since you're benefiting from my nonsense, you get one of my leadership die to it.
Okay, all right. So it is calling for a bonus action, not a reaction. Okay.
I'm permitting it in this case here because you didn't use your bonus action on your turn, really. So it's still available in that way, and it's like, it's fine. No,
it's just that I knew that 2024 had changed a number of rules and actually made divine, the smites as actual actions instead of just a free thing you could choose to do or not.
And also prevents you being able to spam all of them in one turn, which I know I've done that before. I've done 4 of them in one turn, and it's just like, you can't balance fights around that. So I actually like the change in design, despite its
that's good.
weirdness in how it feels there. But yeah, so you smack the instructor for 12 damage. I'd say that you also know a little something extra, Jasmine, namely that there's magic operating in the school to prevent actual like capital D damage to happen on campus for the most part. So like, it's
a good practice to hold it back, especially using a quarterstaff instead of instead of an actual sword.
Yeah, you could even use a sword and it would not be a problem in this case here. But all right, so with that being said, the two students that have not reacted yet finally get a chance to try to attack. One of them, tries to swing out with effectively like a quarterstaff of their own. We're going to have one go against Eclaire, and this is with disadvantage. We're going to roll twice. Does an 18 hit your armor class, Eclaire?
So I got like the plus... Did I get a +1 to my armor class with that warding bond thing? Mm-hmm. So it just barely hits it because that would make my armor class 18.
Question. Was this the one that I threw my distract on?
The first one? Yes, that is the first one there, yeah.
Since it attacked a creature other than me, while I'm within range of its attack, because we're right next to each other, I am going to roll my leadership die and subtract it from their attack.
Okay.
-4.
Okay, so the attack barely misses due to the distraction that Phyrlass did. The other student is going to attack Phyrlass instead. And again,
they're stepping within my reach.
What?
They're stepping within my reach.
No,
because
you stepped up into both of their reaches. You engaged with both of them.
We're moving in that sense. All right, sure.
It was like the instructor's in the middle, flanked by the two students. In that respect, there.
All right, sure, fine, whatever.
I'm not getting all your toys out in one go. But the second this attack is going towards you, that is a 16 and a 17. Does a 16 hit your armor class?
It would, but I'm doing my dancer dodge, so it doesn't.
All right.
My AC is 18.
All right. So yeah, both of these students, kind of like, grab at their head and just like, deal with the fact that, that all this stuff is happening, and they fail to hit any of you, which brings the initiative order all the way back to Eclaire. Hi, it's you again.
I'm going to smack these guys again.
Okay. Go ahead and take a swing at each. So the first attack was an 11 and the second one was a 12, it looks like.
Yes.
Both of those will miss on this thing.
Damn.
In this case here, the first student that you miss is going to use a reaction to swing back at you as a result of that. Because you missed on your first attack against them. Does a 20 hit your armor class?
That one does.
All right. So that will do. Let's see here. That does 13 damage. That is halved and split between you and Jasmine. So each of you take 6 damage from that.
Damage.
The other student does not get that ability, but the larger one, is able to duck down and swing in, kind of get at you at the side with one hit there. So, all right. So, anything else you're doing on your turn with your bonus action, or maybe an action surge?
Let me double check my. Yeah, I do have an action surge. Action surge.
It's a shaction surge. Yeah.
I can take one additional action except the magic action. So I can use. Can I use that to try to hit the guy who just hit me back? Like we're doing a fucking round of parries at each other.
Well, it's a full action, so you can attack twice with it.
Cool. I'm gonna wreck his entire shit. Hold on.
Oh God. 21 and
okay, do 21. 2 21s hit this man.
Both of them hit that person. Yes. And the other damage? How much damage did you roll there?
I rolled 16 and 11, so that's going to be 27 total because I'm just attacking the one person.
Okay. How do you knock them out?
So I hit them and then they hit me back, and then I reel back a little bit at the hit, and it's just that barely scratched me, but you know what? You just made me angry, and I'm gonna swing my sword back around and whap them with the flat side and then with the hilt of it. Excellent
work. Yeah, student just gets clocked, they fall over, stars appear around their head, standard realistic stuff that happens when you induce a concussion on somebody.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we got one of them knocked out of the fight in that respect. Cool. Jasmine. There's still the person that looks like the instructor, and then the other student that was just not bodied by Eclaire left. What do you do in this scenario here?
Let's see. You said it was who left?
We have the shorter student on the left, and then on your left, and then the instructor behind.
Who you're engaged with?
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, I'm going to keep engaging with the instructor because really, students should fight with someone on their level.
Fair enough. Well,
and if someone is going to harm an instructor, it should be another adult. I'll take the heat on this one.
Responsible you are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so go ahead with your roll then. With your rolls, because you can attack twice on your action.
I can absolutely attack twice.
All right.
And in the time between turns, mm-hmm. I have added something.
All right, let's see it. All right, first attack was
let's see,
a 9. Okay.
10, so that's not going to do it.
Yeah, I forgot about we had Bless active there. Right, shoot.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I completely forgot about that too. I've never been on the receiving end of that spell.
Yeah. I forgot.
I've genuinely never been in a
It
group
wouldn't
that
have helped
has
in
it.
your other case there. All right.
So 18 on the second one.
18 will hit soundly, so go ahead.
There you go.
Yep.
Ooh,
So
7.
7? Did I want to do anything extra?
You can throw a different smite on them if you want.
Yeah, you know what? I've got a couple of extra spell slots left. I am going to go with Ensnaring Strike.
All right. Excellent.
Now they need to make a strength save of DC 14.
All right. Let's see if they can pull that off. They don't with their -1 strength. So with that 4, describe what happens when you hit with them with your ensnaring strike.
Well, as I hit them, the wood on my quarterstaff begins to sprout growth on it. Vines as that begin to tangle him up and root him to nearby things. They then start producing spikes. So he is both restrained and will take 1d6 piercing damage at the start of his turns.
Interesting. All right. Very good. And it's interesting that you mentioned that because it is their turn next. So let's collect that total damage there. 7 plus 3. So that's another 10. All right. Is there anything else on that turn? It seems like you're all done there.
Yeah, I think I'm good with my bonus actions.
Excellent. All right there. In that case there, okay, sorry. It is now the instructor's turn. I wish I had a name for these folks. I just forgot to in my prep work. It was this whole thing there. Anyways, their first action is to bonus action Misty Step out of the ensnaring there. But they will take this D6 damage to begin with. So go ahead and roll the D6 damage because
ow.
yes, because they can't react faster than pain.
Fair enough.
Just you guys roll me a D6.
Yeah,
there?
just an additional one.
Just a one. That's okay though. Like if they were concentrating on a spell, that would definitely still be a problem for them. But that is not the case here. So
By the way, this was a concentrate spell, so Bless is gone right now.
that is true, but most people forgot they didn't even had it. They even had it. So
Yeah, I know. I figured it was a safe bet at that point.
So this person uses Misty Step, and they Misty Step kind of like into the room, and then they try to go in to like, basically they try to move back in closer to, I would say, try to explain the situation, but at the same time, there is still like a little bit of pushback with an attempt of a shocking grasp as they try to return back towards you, Jasmine. This does mean now it's your turn, Phyrlass.
My turn or my reaction?
Your reaction. That's what I mean. Now this comes into play.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I wanted to be certain.
Yes.
So, yeah, I have a spear and I have reactive strike.
Yep.
Hello.
Hi. Go ahead and try and remember the nuances of that here. Let me get.
Yeah, I get to just make one melee attack.
All right.
So I'm just going to ram that in here. /R, 1d20 plus 6.
Yep.
18.
You do smack them as they try to move in.
Alrighty then. I don't think I add proficiency to my damage. It's just my dex.
Nope. It is just a straight up attack. So it's a full regular attack.
All right. So
it's going to be D8 plus your dexterity in this case here.
D8. It is a D8. I thought it was a D6.
Nope. I have your character sheets in front of me. I know these numbers.
Hello. I rolled a 10.
Woo. That is like a mighty hit. Like you clock them
It is.
in the face. They might got a little bit of a black eye out of this. They're still going to make an attempt to hit Jasmine with like a shocking grasp in this case here.
Yeah, while all of this is going on, Phyrlass is maneuvering in a constant dance of gestures, which does involve like a fan in her offhand when she's not directing the spear in a given manner. Mm-hmm. And as the spear lashes out with the haft end of it as opposed to the tipped end, mm-hmm. the banner reads "back off."
Excellently played. And I think smacking the instructor in this case does aid in the fact that by the time they try to apply the shocking grasp upon Jasmine, they roll a 13 is not going to match your AC, I bet, Jasmine.
No, it will not.
Your AC is what, 19 right now?
18.
Is it? I was thinking the warding bond gave you a bonus to your AC as well there. Oh yeah, it's the target. No, the target gains the bonus AC, not you. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like to imagine that this is going to be another moment of Jasmine actually showing cleverness in her gear. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not a mechanical thing, just a bit of roleplay, but sure. I like the idea that her shield specifically has like a shield boss in the center. Mm-hmm. of the shield, which is kind of like this rounded end, mm-hmm. and then it has particular strips of metal leading out from it. So this incoming shocking grasp, she shoves the shield in front of it, hits it with the shield boss, and bleeds the electricity outwards along the shield.
I mean, listen, if you're whether you're doing work on the inside of a computer or getting a shocking grasp, you got to make sure to ground yourself correctly.
Exactly.
I like to imagine some of it discharges into a nearby locker.
My thought was going to be like you use your quarterstaff. So when they try to grab at you, they just grab the wood instead. And you're just like, wrong play, buddy. But that's even better. I like that a lot there. Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, the shocking grasp attempt on you fails. And with that being done, Phyrlass, now it's your turn. You have the other student in your reach, and you have the instructor also both of them are kind of in your reach in this respect.
The dance continues, and Phyrlass is going to call out to Eclaire, you know the formation. Act in accordance. And I'm going to do my dance, which I'm going to use to provide, as per usual, mm-hmm. to provide the usual rallying mark. In addition, mm-hmm. Since I am using the dodge action, I can choose to expend a leadership dice mm-hmm. to provide an extra swing through my battlefield presence. So benefiting with my my leadership dice on both of these, though I only expend one, mm-hmm. Eclaire, make 2 attacks against this one.
Mm.
Yippee!
Which one is this one here?
The remaining student.
Got it. Okay. Well, both of those attacks will hit Eclaire. Okay.
All right. We got a 10 and a 9.
And just for the sake of the recording here, what were your attacks on those, Eclaire?
My attacks, like my number?
Yes. Because we have to remember to read these things out for Austin and for the...
Sorry. I hit this man I hit the student with an 18 and a 22, yep. And then my damage was 10 plus 9, so 19 total.
Man, my leadership dice rolled really poorly. I rolled a 1 and a 2, but they take an extra 3 on top of that, and you heal 3.
Excellent.
Yay!
So let's see here. That's a total of 22. All right. So how do you knock this other student out here? Eclaire?
So I probably, I get to turn to this other student, and I'm just like, when you guys wake back up, you're going to tell your little friends to do better prep work before your next prank, because this is sloppy, and this is embarrassing. And then I slap him with my sword.
Did you even make a diorama? Did you even plan correctly? I bet you didn't.
I bet you didn't even draw your plan on a piece of paper, you fucking hacks.
Amateur hour here. Just... All right. With that, the other student is like knocked around, leaving just the instructor remaining here. You can choose to continue fighting. It's 3 against 1. You can also just like talk things out with this person in particular too, if you want. So,
Stand down.
I wasn't even trying to go after you 3, but all right.
On your knees.
No.
No, that's a step too far. Like, especially since this is, just practice. I was like, sure, impromptu, but, improvise, but hey, we can just leave it here, right?
It also is.
They got a lesson in, doing some thieving and kidnapping. We got to do some practice on rescues. We can just call it there, and no one has to do anything drastic.
Jeez. All right. I think I have an idea of what's going on here, despite all that. So, wait, you're saying so? Can you run that back about what was happening here?
Okay, so, and one lengthy explanation later.
Yes. No, it's fine. It's fine. One lengthy explanation later. We can have it. We can have it be like Hav or something. Okay. All right. So, all right. This is what happens when you have too many school traditions happening at the same time. Gosh. All right. Well. Okay. We will. You could take the mascot back with you. It's fine. It's fine. I'll have to answer to the folks above. I may not explain what happened here just to keep things, a little on the down low here, but jeez. You don't mess around here at Shardpoint, do you?
I mean, like, no one really wants to have someone, kidnapped, Like, it's a very serious thing. Like,
all right. Well,
that said, I'll do you one solid. Like, if you need any help, just let me know. Like,
yeah, that type of fraternization is the type of stuff that'll get you fired. So I appreciate the offer, but we can't formally do anything like that. Rivalries and all that.
I don't have to do. Yeah, I get that, but I have contacts.
Yeah, and
doesn't have to be open.
Yeah, and as for you, they sort of gesture over to Phyrlass. Once you're an actual instructor, then maybe I'll kneel, but not until then. You still have a place, and you're not quite there yet.
I give Phyrlass a thumbs up.
Like, you're still a TA. You're not a full professor yet hit there. So
in that case, I will consider that a promise.
And I'll consider that a threat. In the meantime, I'm going to take these two over to recoup, and we'll act like nobody saw you came in here, okay?
All right.
I'll leave you two to it. It's like all of a sudden, like, you see that person like snap their fingers, create like a floating disc, hauling the two students on it, and like kind of push them like they're on a cart out of the room.
Tensor's floating gurney.
Tensor's floating gurney is a very good thought there. And well, you're now left alone in the locker room again with one still motionless Christy on the ground in front of the locker.
Awesome.
Phyrlass is going to quickly mutter.
Oh shoot!
Phyrlass is going to quickly mutter to Eclaire, "I am a threat."
Hell yeah, you are. Let's fucking carry this Christy guy back to what was a band practice, cheer practice,
Pep rally.
Here,
pep rally.
I got it. Like, I got them. All right, up you go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You would say that like it still feels like there's somebody in there. Yes. But like there's there's not like any duress or like any sort of like other indication. But as you pick, you can carry Christy back with the person still inside of it, is all I'm saying. Or you can choose not to do that. It's either way.
I gotta carry them like a baby.
Phyrlass will at least like undo the costume enough so that they can breathe easier.
Oh, that's not a worry. The costume is designed to have breathing holes in it and stuff like that, at least. So
sure.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to do the Scooby-Doo, like pull the mask off, and despite it being like Crystal, like pulls off like cloth and something. Yeah. So the trek back is easy. You have your elk, obviously. You have things that can do to make the trek over easy enough there. But
hang on, let me see where I parked my elk.
By the elk parking sign, obviously. Next to where the motorcycles would go. I mean, Jasmine, we don't have find ride in this yet. Someone still has to make that in the master's program, Jasmine. But an elk is pretty cool, you know.
An elk is pretty cool. Like, and very fortunately, like, if the original steed is not, gone, like, or just standing and waiting, I think,
grazing.
I still have, I still have an extra summon of it. But yeah, if it's still there, let's just kind of.
I have a mental image.
Load up.
It probably wouldn't, strictly speaking, follow rules, but I think it's funny. So I'd just like to present the thought of Jasmine riding at the front of the elk, holding the reins. I assume there's reins. Behind that, Eclaire is holding on to Jasmine like, a motorcycle passenger would. And then at the rear of the elk, Phyrlass is just standing upright with her arms folded at all times as it gallops forward.
Yep. That sounds about
with Christy drooped over the shoulders of the beast.
Oh, that's good. If there's
what a magnificent vision.
if there's any conversation between you all you want to have, that's fine. But I have one idea for a closing. Sorry, I have a bunch of just digestion issues going on right now. I have one closing kind of like vision in my head, and it really comes down to when do you check the inside of the costume?
That's kind of what I was trying to get at there, but whatever.
Well, yeah, like I didn't hear open the costume. I just sort of like
I said open the face.
Like open up the face thing. That's where the miscommunication happened.
Yeah.
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 Let's pull his little mask. Let's pull off Christy's little mask, like while we're like riding back.
Sure.
Definitely do a quick medic checkup on them.
Sure.
Because they have been stuffed in the locker, which is not good either way.
Yeah. So what happens is the following. The way the crystal thing is actually a pretty firm exterior, and it kind of like unlatches, and the both halves kind of like separate, almost like a Kinder Egg type thing. But just do a flat. I want everyone to do a flat intelligence check for me, please.
Oh no!
Just a D20 with +1 for Eclaire and -1 for the other two here.
Oh wow! Right. I rolled a 17.
17? 19.
What do you roll, Jasmine?
A 16.
Cool. The DC was a 5. All right. So as you take off the thing there, the person you see inside is not Chris, the person who made the Christy costume and was wearing the Chris. Like, it's not Chris. No, it's the headmaster of the academy, Oren Waite, is inside of the costume. And as you pull it off, it's almost like there's a blink from him, and it's just like, oh, it looks like this thing might have resolved itself already.
Can I?
Yeah.
I have the stupidest idea. Can I just throw him off the elk?
You can try.
Please do not.
I'll say this.
I just like.
No. They'll say. Here's the thing. It would involve you having to do an athletics check, but you have one thing working against you with doing that.
Is it Orin's fucking divination?
Yes,
shit?
Orin's portent magic will just make you fail to throw him off the elk. And it's like, I had...
Okay, I'm imagining, like, Eclaire was gonna, like, thoughtlessly toss him off because she's just immediately like, oh my god, this fucking dude's bullshit again. And then he, like, swings back up around the other side, like Mo throwing Barney out of the tavern.
And Barney's just back at the bar.
Yeah.
and
Meanwhile, chat.
It's like a combination of portent plus Misty Step just gets Orin back on the saddle really easily there. And it's like...
Meanwhile, yeah. I was going to say, meanwhile, Jasmine, realizing who it is sweating bullets right now. It's like, I showed off, like, some...
If he heard a second of you explaining how to wrench open a locked door with your knife...
Well, on that note, it's like Orin will look at Jasmine's like, probably should have used 2 knives, honestly. It gives you a little bit of better leverage on that.
I came lightly equipped, sir.
It happens. I was able to swap places with Chris, I think around the time you two showed up. So... It's
2?
all... What?
Phyrlass is objecting to not being counted amongst the...
I meant to say you all show up. I misspoke in that case. That was me, the person. That was me, the GM, misspeaking there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's like I think I was able to pull it off just about the time because I heard tapping once I was in there. And then I just kind of took a little bit of a nap because the inside of this is way comfier than I was expecting it to be.
Either way, mission complete.
Indeed.
Where did you send Chris?
Oh, he's in the head. I swapped places with him, so JJJ is keeping an eye on him.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess it's good we rescued you too.
Oh,
Sure.
I'm sure it would have happened eventually, but honestly, listen, roughing up anyone from Rock Edge is always going to be okay in my book here, so don't worry.
So I guess we're not in trouble then, huh?
That's for the accrediting body to deal with, and now leave them to me if there's any complaints. But for the time being,
thank you.
For the time being, you might want to put this back on. I'll swap places back with Chris, and you can get back to the rest of your ceremonies, okay?
Thank you, Headmaster.
Yes.
There's like a little, almost like a little salute before I feel like the things just get snapped together again as you head back there. So, and at the rest of this, and the rest of the proceedings are pretty much just pep rally goes smoothly. The other proceedings go on. Is there anything else you want to depict going on as we kind of wind down towards the end of this? Any one-to-one scenes, any chats between the three of you as my little twist was revealed?
I have one thing that I want to go for, but that can be like a closing shot.
Sure, for sure. Anything between Eclaire and Jasmine?
Yeah, I wanted to stroll up to Jasmine and just be like, so lock picking. We want to figure out a time to do that. Should I bring my own tools? What's the deal? What's your angle?
All right. So, here's how it's going to lay out. You show up to my sessions. It'll be somewhere around 30 minutes to an hour. Hour is the hard stop. Okay? And then afterwards, we'll spend about, a bit of time teaching you little tricks here and there. Some of them are going to be the easy, universal stuff. I will show you example sets of lockpicks. There's going to be a wide variety. It's going to be fun. I promise you. I'll even bring stuff that you can work on. And
well,
spend time between. Yeah.
I do think that lockpicking sounds fun. Not sure about any other stuff.
Trust me, it'll be worth it. I mean, as you probably guessed by now, I used to be a lot like you.
Hey, wait, what? If you have my kind of experience, why go into teaching or life coaching? I guess out of school.
That's a long story. But let's just say that I had a rather singular experience. It changed the way I saw the world. It's also why I wear these colors now, of course. And I figured there were going to be a few others that would be lost in their way, felt that they really had no choice but to behave the way that you and I do. Honestly, I wanted to show them that there were choices. And that you didn't have to forever be some blemish on society.
Well, I appreciate the TLDR, and I assume that was very important for you. But I do gotta say, what I've got going now, this is my choice. I'm having fun with it. My girls and I are having a pretty good time of running a little rampant through this place. And as long as I do what the boss man headmaster says and like help out a little bit here and there, like I don't have to get like ejected from this school into an even like more cruddy and prep like enrollment place, because my parents keep I've been to like 5 different academies by now.
Oh yeah, no. Trust me, I understand that entirely. And I'm not saying that you should stop, really. I can see that you're actually enjoying yourself, and honestly, it's been a while since I had enjoyed myself like this as well.
Maybe I will be a bad influence on you and you can have more fun again.
Trust me, you can't soil a dirty pot, girl.
Gosh, that reminds me.
That sounds like a good good place to end that conversation.
See, it's funny because I'm reminded of a line said by a football player for the Detroit Lions, where they said basically, they try to bury me, but you can't bury what came from the fucking ground. It's just like, that's a oh, that came from the fucking dirt. That he can't bury what came from the fucking dirt. I'm like, that's a hard ass line. It's great. Excellent.
But basically she's going to ultimately say, what I'm really trying to say here is that if you need to talk to someone that understands your position and has some life wisdom, I'm here. Like, if you want to see what might come further down the pipeline for you, I'm willing to lend an ear, especially if you just want to come into my office and rant about how your day's been.
You know, my girls usually listen to me.
But do they connect with you?
I like to think so. Whatever you're putting down on the table, I'll think about it, okay?
All right. That's all I ask.
So the rally hits a point of a break, and in that moment, Phyrlass heads over to Jasmine after Eclaire takes off.
Mm-hmm. Phyrlass, how can I help you?
Miss Jasmine, you see the potential in her that I do, I think.
I mean, we've walked the same roads.
Indeed. I find that hers is an energy that is most effectively channeled towards a worthwhile purpose rather than simply let run wild.
Mm-hmm. On that we can agree.
That is part of why I continue to associate with her as I do. The other part is that she is very effective at dealing with irritants. She understands the routines far better than most, having not seen them for the most part. You saw the way that entire encounter went. Nearly perfect. One slight error and otherwise an immaculate performance that left the opposition upon the floor.
Now, I'll admit that she certainly has amazing talent. However, honestly, I was like, with how easy I was able to follow it, I think you have a talent as well that you're probably not giving yourself enough credit for.
Oh, I am not selling myself short. I know what I am capable of. My entire art is about helping others achieve that which they cannot on their own. I'm simply saying that, compared to most, she is particularly adept at understanding it. I think she could perform it as well.
I think it's. I thought themselves were like, I'm not selling myself short. As you can see, I am very tall. Actually.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no need to go full Drax on that.
I've realized we had a missed opportunity. We could have done the locksmith joke. We could have done it, but we didn't. Anyways,
I was thinking about that. Anyway,
but all right. With that though, how do we close this thing off here?
Upon the conclusion of the little conversation over there, Phyrlass is going to begin to head out towards the field, but is going to pause, is going to look across the way, tip over some kind of object, slam the heel of her boot down on it, and is going to point across the field at the opposing instructor. The one from the opposing team's instructor, the one from the locker room.
Oh, they're not here. I mean, I didn't expect them to be here because they're not going to be on that location. They're quarantined into their spot. Is sort of my whole thing.
Well, this is like on the field during stuff, right?
Unless we're saying like it's like the day of the game type thing. I thought you were saying like this is immediately after the conversation with Jasmine. So we can refactor that there. So this is like the day of the game, we're saying?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So that's why I was just like, yeah, there's no reason why they would be there. They would not want to, because that was against the rules in that case. So yeah, it's the day. So we're going to do our closing shot here. It's the day of the game, the rivalry game between Shardpoint and Rokej. And so you come out to like the field and you do this display. You drop the object on the ground, stomp on it, and you point over to this instructor at the other side of the field, on the other side of the field there. Yeah.
Yeah, on the one side of the field, Phyrlass just finds like a tackle dummy or something like that, slams it to the ground with one hand, lifts her leg, slams her heeled black leather boot upon where the neck would be, points across the field, and it is directly at the instructor from the locker room.